Hello and welcome to Deep Thoughts, Shallow Plots.
My name is Erika, and I really like to watch horror movies.
My name is Katy, and I really like to overanalyze things. What are we overanalyzing today?
Katy, today we are overanalyzing Saw.
Saw, what did you see? I don't know. That's nothing. That's literally nothing.
From 2004.
The first of the Saw
franchise.
It's
the whole franchise. There's 10 films. Yeah.
There's too many.
Yep. Directed by
James Wan.
And written by Leigh Whannell.
Oh, and of course Leigh Whannell, also one of our main characters.
Yeah, he's also Adam. Yeah. Yes. And can you tell that...
Love a writer-actor. That was my dream in high school.
But can you tell that he's more of a writer than an actor?
Yeah.
Yep.
I really love putting an Australian guy and an English guy together into a room and being like, be American.
But do an American
But be
accent.
American, right? Can you just like feed off of each other's fake Americanness?
And the answer is kind of no.
No,
apparently.
not really.
Yeah.
It gets a little spotty.
Yeah. So do you want to give us like a one sentence summary of this film? I think it can be summed up in one sentence.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. Two men get trapped in a bathroom by a psycho killer who somehow thinks that putting people through murder traps will make them better people.
Or appreciate their life more.
Yeah. And hilarity ensues as a detective gets involved and tries to solve the thing. And there's a red herring guy. And
there's
a wife and kid are threatened.
So it's funny because, this is considered a horror movie and also considered one of the first horror movies to fit in the genre of torture porn.
Yes.
But it is also, and really, I think at its core, a crime story and a detective story.
Yeah, it's like a detective story. It's like one of those
there's
serial killer versus hard-boiled detective kind of things.
But it does it in an interesting way in this series, to me, like taking on that trope. Not always in a well-written way.
No.
But in an interesting way.
And I would say, at least the first one, I have not seen the other ones. I read all of their synopses and was very confused, but I have not seen the other ones.
Yeah.
I will say this first one, though, quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
I thought I would hate it because I thought it would be really gross and icky because of the torture porn of it all.
Right.
But it's not super torture porny, the first one.
No, it's really not. In comparison to where we end up, just yesterday I rewatched Saw X.
Right.
Which is the 10th one.
The last of what exists at this point.
Yeah, and that one is pretty intense.
I know that at some point people need to do like self-brain surgery and there's
a guy has
keys in people's eyes.
Yeah, a guy has to take out some chunks of his brain.
God.
A woman has to cut off her own leg and like to get out a certain amount of bone marrow.
Oh.
Yeah, it's intense.
I just don't, just like, how do they even just like medically know how to do that?
So
I don't need the answer to this question.
I think we can get into it a little later.
Yeah.
I think I might have
at least
some.
This one, it makes sense that Dr. Lawrence Gordon, who's a surgeon, can saw off his own foot.
Yes. I have some.
Though I have questions about a saw that can saw through bone and stuff, but not through the chains. And it's like, did you try sawing through the pipe? Maybe you could saw through the pipe if you can saw through a bone.
I have a lot of questions. So. Yeah. I also wonder how, because, the majority, or not the majority, but a good chunk of this movie takes place in one room.
Yes.
Where there is meant to be what we are meant to believe is a dead body on the ground.
Yes, that's like the big twist.
And it's just there for, how
8 hours? I believe.
8 hours.
When we see the clock, it's like 10-ish.
Yes.
And they're supposed to be done by 6.
Yeah, so a full working day.
A full working day down at the torture factory.
That guy is a contract day. That guy, who we know is Jigsaw, right?
Yes,
but
pretending to
be dead, is just laying there for an entire day and is not accidentally showing any signs of life
to even the eyes of a doctor
of a doctor who is in all fairness a very stressful situation.
Keeping his cool, though, he goes through a lot of stressful situations. I imagine he's a little bit easier at keeping his cool. Though also I feel like maybe this is actually a real thing in some of the later movies. I just imagine he probably injected himself with some sort of drugs to like slow his heartbeat and knock himself out or whatever,
and slow his breathing.
But weird choice.
Weird choice
to just put himself in that situation and be like, I want to be lying on a bathroom floor
for a day.
Me, an old man with cancer.
Yes.
For a full contract day.
Yep.
While two men try to repress their homoerotic tendencies over my dead corpse.
Seemingly dead corpse.
Yes. Seemingly homoerotic.
So I've got some good horror stuff.
Yes.
For me.
I do too.
And then
I feel like my more bigger things though were like good comedy stuff.
Good comedy.
I just thought this movie was like a hoot.
Well, and I think the reason why it comes off as a hoot to some people is that it's got some major problems.
Yeah.
Like the writing in parts of it is not amazing.
And I imagine some of that is also just like because I went into it knowing what Saw would become as a franchise.
Yes.
I was expecting so much like gore and like heavy gross stuff that I didn't want to. That every time something silly happened, I was just like, oh, how charming. How delightful.
Because
Jigsaw makes little doll-sized
Billy puppets, I think they're called.
he makes little puppets and he makes the little models of his traps. He had that little tiny bathroom with the little tiny toys.
Yes.
Just like, oh my God, he's a crafter.
Well, he's an engineer.
Yes. Yeah. Excuse me. He would hate to be called a crafter.
Well, I mean, I don't know how but
he seems like
an
he
engineer
would hate to be called a crafter.
and an architect.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's very darling.
It is darling, but because we have to remember that like there is a historical aspect. This movie is over 20 years old.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think a lot of it is just like how it's aged.
Yes, 20 years ago, what happens in Saw is like pretty mind-blowing.
Pretty gnarly.
But now with 9 other Saws...
Yes.
And a myriad of other films. Actually, when we get to talking about torture porn, there's really a lot of international films that help hold up that, that title that actually have very little to do with America. So
to be fair, this movie is somewhat international with Australian guys behind it.
Yeah,
an English guy is one of the main actors.
Yes. But yeah, I was like keeping count of like quote unquote gross stuff.
Yeah.
And we get this thing at the beginning of the movie that is not something the franchise continues with, and I'm so thankful for it, which is when Adam puts his hand in the toilet.
Yes. Scatological stuff.
Yeah, that's sort of like gross out, but not blood and guts stuff. Like it dies, and that's no longer it's nothing nowhere in the rest of the franchise.
It really didn't need to be in this movie.
It didn't need to be.
But some people like that part.
And then
they think it's funny.
It's not really until Larry. I call him Larry.
He's Lawrence. He's Larry. I don't call him Dr. Gordon.
Oh, I would call him Dr. Gordon because he is a doctor.
Yeah. But I don't know him like that.
No, I
know him as my man Larry.
I'm going to call him Larry. Yeah. And then when at the end when he begins to saw off his foot. But that's really
I think it also depends. As far as I'm aware, there is the director's cut as well, which has a little bit more lingering on Amanda in her trap where she has to stab open a guy and like dig through his intestines to get the key to her trap.
But I mean, their blood isn't even down to her wrist.
Yeah,
like it's literally on her fingers. It's very minimal.
Like, you could see that on Grey's Anatomy. Come on.
Exactly. And I'm like, we're supposed to believe that you just tore a guy's, like, sternum open.
Yeah.
And
well, he was still alive, so blood is still
circulating. And we're supposed to believe that you only have blood on your fingers and your palms. Yeah. And that it's not all down your arms. By now, I don't know so much.
But yeah, no, what are the other kills? Are any of them particularly gory?
Not really.
Because we don't really see the moments of them dying.
No. And the way that this franchise will, like the cinematography in this franchise is that it can be like very like...
Which I love, the little kind of scattered, kind of frenetic.
Yeah.
Like, people freaking out, like Amanda in her chair trying to break free. And it's just like all these quick sort of jagged shots. I actually really love that.
Yeah, so, and that is also a really good way to bring down production costs. It doesn't need to look that real, because they're going to,
they're going to mess it up.
So we get the guy who gets caught in the razor wire.
Oh, yeah, that one sucks. Just the description they have of it, where he, like, cut himself so deep with the razor wire that, like, there was stomach acid on the floor. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Like, the description of it is fucking gnarly. But I imagine in a later Saw film, they would show that.
Yes, 800%, yes. Yeah, that's what's really interesting is that they explain it, and then, of course, the visual we get, our brain can just kind of run away with it and fill it in for us.
Which worked for me. Actually, I had no problem with those scenes.
Absolutely.
I thought they were pretty well done.
And then the guy who's covered in the weird jelly.
Oh, yeah, the flammable
guy who has to like use a candle to like find a code to a safe that seems impossible.
Yeah.
Then it's Amanda.
Right.
Who
has to kill that other guy.
Whoever he the fuck is. Who does have a name.
Oh.
I just don't remember it right now.
Okay.
And then after we see Amanda in her trap, then we see Danny Glover's character, one of the detectives.
Yes.
Get his throat cut by Jigsaw.
Yes.
But this is a psych out. He's actually not dead after that.
I will say, actually, when his partner trips...
Detective Singh.
When he trips, he hits the tripwire and causes all those guns to shoot him from above. That was kind of gross.
That was gross. That was intense.
That was... Yeah. I was like, ooh.
He's the next victim. Yeah, so he gets caught by a booby trap. Which, duh.
I know. We'll talk about the cops and how fucking stupid they are.
Yeah.
But like, duh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The booby trap guy has booby traps
in the place where
he lives, basically,
and does his work. Yes,
his most precious work and his crafts.
And that's another one where we do get to see that a little bit, but again, like in later films, like we would see the entire thing.
Yeah. We only get like a split second, and it's enough for you to be like, ooh.
And then we get Adam beats Zepp with a toilet lid.
Yeah, which more power to him.
Takes out Zepp. And then Jigsaw locks Adam in the gross
we don't
bathroom.
even see what... Technically, we don't know what becomes of Larry or Adam. We do because of later movies.
Yes, because of canon.
Just the ending of this movie, we don't see either of their deaths. So we don't even have a death for either of them.
Right, very open-ended.
We just have the assumption that Adam will starve to death.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Dehydrate or something.
Yeah. And Lawrence maybe will bleed out.
Maybe.
Or get caught by Jigsaw, because Jigsaw's right behind you, man.
Well, and he can't move that fast, right? So that's it. Yeah, like not even taking into account Adam, because his death at the end of this movie is sort of, nebulous. That's like 5 victims.
Yeah.
That's a really low body count.
And like, we don't see most of their deaths. We see like the after effects of a lot of them.
Yeah, because this is a crime movie.
Because it's a crime movie, and the way they do it feels very much like... I don't know, one of those CSI moments where we start off and we see like part of the crime and we get like a weird sort of x-ray view of the heart stopping or something, you know? Like it felt very like watching an episode of CSI.
Yeah. And about the right time, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Similar eras. What I will say is one of the horror things that really worked for me actually is how... I wonder if the other Saw movies are like this or if they just really employ the torture porn. But this movie felt really claustrophobic to me.
Yeah.
Like it really... got to me just how like dark and dank everything is. And like something I was reading pointed out that we like never see the outside basically, other than a few shots from inside cars. Like we don't like, not just Adam and Larry who are stuck inside this bathroom and never get to see the outside again. Or do they? But like
Adam doesn't. Adam dies.
Adam fucking dies. Yeah.
Sorry.
Larry does though.
Larry lives. Yes.
Good old Dr. Gordon.
Yep.
But yeah, even us, the viewers, never get to see the outside again.
Yes, and this will stay for the franchise. And what's really interesting is that, like, even when we do get to see anything sort of outside, which is very rare, it's always like dark
and just gray
and overcast,
dismal,
and it's
oppressive. It just feels really, it like helps enhance the feeling of being trapped.
Yes,
which is clever.
Yeah,
it's a good choice, and also again brings down production costs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then one last general note that I want to make, something that also made this film such a delight to me, was the inclusion of my beloved Michael Emerson as Zepp Hindle. Hindle is his last name?
Zepp Hindle. Yep.
Zepp. Good old Zepp.
Yep.
It is living in my head rent-free. One line that he has when, right after Allison, I believe Mrs. Gordon's name is Allison, and the daughter is Diana.
Yeah.
After they escape and he's like still trying to find them in the house and he's like, Diana, I'm going to kill your husband now, Mrs. Gordon. It just like keeps repeating in my head because it's so silly.
Oh,
and I love him so much. But it brings me great joy to see Michael Emerson. This is apparently before Lost came out.
Yeah, just right before. Yeah.
Because it's interesting because he's from Lost and Detective Singh is also an actor from Lost. And I personally love Michael Emerson from Person of Interest. That's my Michael Emerson show. But I love him.
Yes.
I think that they do a good job in terms of detective shows of setting him up as a red herring.
Very.
If you aren't personally obsessed with Michael Emerson, because if you are, then the moment they meet, the detectives run into Jigsaw in his lair.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not Michael Emerson.
No.
I know Michael Emerson. That's not Michael Emerson.
Or
clearly Michael Emerson is either working with or for or something.
Yeah.
Jigsaw,
or being
the real
blackmailed
Jigsaw.
by something's happening.
Something's happening here.
Something else is that when you called it because you're obsessed with Michael Emerson, that when Dr. Gordon's daughter and wife get kidnapped, we're supposed to not know
who it is. And I was
masked
because we had
is.
already seen Zepp get introduced in the hospital.
And you were looking for Michael Emerson.
Yeah, I was like, where is he? Where is he? There's my boy. He's in a closet.
Yes.
Oh, he's so cute. He has the little teddy bear for her. It just was such a delight to me. I love him being like, his name is John, Dr. Gordon. He's a very interesting person. Yes, tell me more, Zepp. I have so many questions. I would love to know, actually, this one detail from later movies.
Okay.
Which is why Jigsaw chose Zepp. Was Zepp annoying? Is that it? Was Zepp annoying him?
I don't know.
Was it just a good opportunity? Zepp was there.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, what we end up finding out in the future films is that Jigsaw is like the main mastermind of all of this, but he has multiple accomplices.
Okay, yeah.
I think
that was the part when I was reading it.
Zepp was one.
Get really kind of soap opera-y.
Yes.
Where I was like, I can't keep track of all these people. They're backstabbing each other.
Yes, they're killing each other.
Together. They're working against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that was a really good job, though, also in terms of detective stories, of setting up, like, doing that thing that a good detective story does, where it gives you all the clues you need.
Yes.
Because that one shot where we introduce Michael Emerson, where he's like, hey, pay attention to the guy in the bed. He's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Sort of like highlighting, that's the actual guy. Mm-hmm. And then you see on his table there by his bed that, what is Mr. Jigsaw's real name?
John Kramer.
John Kramer, yes. That this John Kramer is working on a little doodle of his reverse bear trap just right there in his hospital bed.
Yep.
And also has stolen one of the pen lights that will be used to, like, frame Dr. Gordon.
To try to frame Dr. Gordon.
Which I also have questions about.
Which works for some reason.
Yeah, I also have questions about that. But
Yeah.
I think that's okay. I think Zepp is used very well. And not just because he's Michael Emerson and I love him. I think, like, in terms of detective story, he's, like, very good at being like, that's an interesting guy. I have a special bond with him. Pay attention to me and also that guy.
And also him. Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's, like, really well done.
But then, Adam kills him with a toilet lid.
Oh, and also before that,
yes.
Can I also say I love Lawrence's wife, Allie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Giving a little bit of, like, Final Girl energy.
Yeah.
She, like, gets out the scissors and, like, stabs up.
Yeah.
And, like, she fucking saves herself.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that Larry's in the bathroom like, oh no, I need to cut off my leg to save my family. And, like, they're over at the neighbors. They're fine.
Yeah.
You could have just hung out. You were fine.
They were fine. And canonically, the entire Gordon family is still alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even Larry.
Even Larry. Yeah.
He's just making it as an accomplice. That's my understanding. He becomes one of the accomplices.
Yep. And he's canonically still alive.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, we really only have we have two main characters. Yeah. Which is Lawrence and Adam.
Yeah. They're the ones telling us the story.
Yes,
they
are.
They are like the frame narrative, and then we get flashbacks to learn about everybody else.
Yeah. And they are effectively in that very claustrophobic and dirty type of bathroom place.
So fucking gross.
It's like basically an escape room.
Which I don't know why. That's maybe a weird question. It's why because Jigsaw said so.
Yeah.
That's why. But, like, if the only goal is to be like, oh, I don't know. It's just like, we will get into Jigsaw and all of his why he is like that.
Why is he like that? Yep.
But, like, we get this lead up of, like, Larry being like, oh, I think I know who did this to us. I bet it was that Jigsaw guy that I almost got framed as. And then he's like, here are all of his other traps. And it's like, this is a trap that lasted 5 minutes,
3
tops.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It involved one person, and there was no tricks or hidden things, and you had to turn off the lights. There was nothing like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, here's a candle, here's a bunch of shit on the wall. Do your best.
Find the code.
Here's an open door, but a bunch of barbed wire in the way.
Yeah.
Do your best. I don't know. It's just like he gets like really weird about Adam and Lawrence.
He does care very deeply about them. Yeah.
And it's never really explained why.
No, other than Jigsaw, who we will learn is John Kramer.
Yes.
That Jigsaw was treated by Dr. Gordon.
Yes.
And then he also has something to do with Adam. This is the thing, is that like we learn way more about Larry than we do Adam.
I will talk about this more later when we get into Jigsaw's whole deal, but my theory about Adam is that he was just kind of like some spare guy.
He's just a guy.
Just like in Amanda's trap, and
She
with
was
that other guy who was there.
Yeah,
he was just like a spare guy.
He was her drug dealer. That's the idea.
Yeah, but it's like he is there for Amanda's trap, to be a part of the trap.
Yes.
I think Adam is only there to be a part of Lawrence's trap,
basically,
and that Jigsaw is working very hard to pit them against each other by being like, oh, I'm going to slowly reveal that Adam has been stalking you and taking pictures and selling them to the detective to try to like prove.
But he's only been doing that because he's been hired by someone.
Yeah, and because Jigsaw framed him as a murderer, thus making this detective think that he's a murderer and needing a private investigator like Adam to take pictures of him. So I mean, it really goes back to Jigsaw.
Right. Yeah, so like it really is more focused on Larry. Yeah. And like the only way we get to know like even who Adam is and how he ended up there is like in his relation to Larry.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he was secretly taking pictures of him and his little affair that he was having.
Which he insists he was not having, but I think we all know.
Because Adam said that wasn't the first time.
Right.
I'm like, okay, maybe you didn't sleep with her that time, but what about the previous time?
Other things.
Or did you just go and sit alone in a hotel room? Like, really, Dr. Gordon?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do like how hard Jigsaw is working to, like, make Larry kill Adam.
Yes.
Simple call. And he's like, your wife and daughter are at risk. They will die if you do not kill Adam.
Gotta kill Adam.
And still Larry is like, but Adam, my precious boy Adam, who I've known for 8 hours and yet value as much as my wife and child, my precious Adam, I could never.
Well, this is the thing, is that and I think they kind of know it. They know that they should probably be working together.
Yeah.
But they don't know how, because they don't trust each other, because each of them thinks like the other had something to do with them being in the situation. And of course, it's very high stress. They're what they believe to be a dead person on the floor with a gun.
So like already one person has died.
Yeah.
Larry has the backstory about other people who have died in these sort of traps. Like, and so, it is like this very fun game where they have to work together while knowing that one person is supposed to kill the other.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you...
Right. And then of course there's little like escape room type hints, like you have to turn off the lights and you can see the X sort of thing. But then the one that gets me is when they, for some reason, switch wallets.
Oh, when Larry gives Adam his wallet
to show a picture of his wife and kid.
Because he's like, yeah, here's my beautiful wife and child.
Here's my entire wallet.
I'm going to let die because I will not kill you.
But then, of course, when Adam like actually gets into the wallet, he finds
that the picture of them isn't there. Instead, it's a picture of them all captured, kidnapped.
Yeah. And so...
Which means that they were kidnapped for more than 8 hours.
Yeah.
It is unclear how long they were kidnapped for, but it was a long time.
It was a while.
Which is unrelated to anything, but just kind of wild.
Yeah. But then Adam doesn't say anything.
Yes.
He just takes it and is like, oh, a piece of information. Information is power here.
My read on that is that he doesn't want Larry to have to see his family like that. My read on Adam is that he's actually very empathetic. I know Jigsaw says that he's apathetic and also pathetic, which is like, dude, let my boy live.
Yeah, right.
Like, why are you just reading him for filth right now?
You got some nerve. Yeah.
Like, he's done literally nothing. But no, he calls him apathetic. I think he's very empathetic. Like, he gets very invested in everything that Larry is saying and like wants to know about his family and is like... Yeah, I think just doesn't want Larry to see his family like that. Because when he finally does hand over the picture, it is sort of like, I don't really want you to see this. Right. I want you to have to see this. This is like, nobody should have to see their family like this, is my read. But I don't know.
What else about Lawrence and Adam?
I do like the part where Lawrence very symbolically rips his own name in half because they all have their little envelopes with their names on them.
Yes.
That's some like self-hatred. That's like some themes about the other thing we didn't say about Jigsaw is that he always leaves his victims with little like jigsaw puzzle pieces taken out of their skin.
Yes.
And like there's just little bits of there that, I don't know, the tearing the name in the half kind of felt like, you know, breaking you into pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. I like that Larry is like really upset that he's been victimized by Jigsaw because according to him, I had everything in order.
Yes.
My whole life was in perfect order.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. And so you shouldn't be victimized. I mean, nobody should be victimized for any reason, but like having your life in order isn't.
He had his life in order, Katie.
That's the only thing you can do is have your life in order. Certainly you can't live and enjoy your life.
Absolutely.
I like the play that they have where Adam talks about them as both being bullshitters and they like lie to each other a lot. And then the last line is Adam asking, are we going to be okay? And Lawrence says, I wouldn't lie to you. Yeah. That's real good. That's good shit.
Yeah.
I'll say the writing there, good.
Good, yes. See, this is the thing, is that I know that Lee Wanell and James Wan are both very capable.
Yes.
I actually really enjoy pretty much anything with either of their names on it.
Yeah.
More or less. And it's just so interesting how sometimes the writing can really hit and sometimes it really falls flat.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like the parts where it kind of falls flat are the parts where like it gets a little schlocky. Like they're playing too much into like the detective genre or the horror film genre and not really just letting the movie be what it is on its own and like letting like because what the most compelling part I think is Adam and Larry's relationship with each other, which isn't something that you necessarily see in other horror films. The sort of trauma bonding process.
Yep.
You do in some films, but often the characters are pretty flat.
Yeah.
Like these characters are, well, as you said, we don't really get to know much about Adam, but just sort of like, I don't know, you get a real feel for who he is as a person. And you do get a feel for like what his motives are. Like Jigsaw is all up on his case and Larry is too about Adam taking pictures of people for money. And Adam is fully just like, yeah, I call it my need to eat.
Yeah, right?
And it's just like, yes.
Yeah. Everybody's just trying to make a living out here, you know?
And then, of course, there's the moments where I was like, oh, this is a romance, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Jigsaw didn't need to be like, follow your heart. Put a little heart there. I'm like, are you trying to ship this? What are you doing, Jigsaw?
Well,
I thought you wanted them to kill each other.
Well, but doesn't he like, isn't
you would
it,
think follow your heart would mean like open up your chest where your heart is and pull the key out of your heart and somehow survive and then.
But isn't it like, again, like a little escape room clue?
Yeah.
Where they have to find.
It's not thematic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not thematic.
It's a bad escape room. The escape room is kind of bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, like 1 out of 5 for sure.
Yeah, it's like, it's not very good. Yeah, I love that in those 8 hours, they become very attached to each other. And even though Larry is leaving to like go get help, Adam is like, don't leave me.
Don't leave. Yeah.
Yeah. When Larry gets like electrocuted and Adam is like, Lawrence, get up. I need you.
Oh, that's right.
Like, oh, you need him, baby.
But, and also that's weird. The like that they're set up to get shocked.
Who's doing that?
Who's doing that?
Who is doing that?
I don't know. I wonder if...
At one point, it could have been Zep, because he's watching through the video to see if he does it or not, or if he has to kill.
Yeah, but it can't be Jigsaw, because he's there.
But at one point, Zep is, like, doing his little car chase.
Right.
When I think Larry gets electrocuted.
Right.
So, like, who did that?
Who did that? Or is it, like, set up to go off under specific circumstances?
But how would it know what those circumstances... I mean, probably it's that... you know, one of his other accomplices is involved or something.
Yeah, it's just gonna, yeah.
I mean, I gotta imagine there was some sort of plan, or maybe there wasn't, for if they did get themselves out of those chains somehow, if Adam didn't immediately lose the key to his chain and, like, wasn't chained up the whole time. I feel like, was there some sort of backup plan for if he started messing with the quote-unquote dead body?
Right? Well, this is the thing, though, is that I don't think either of them could necessarily reach the dead body.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, if he got unchained.
Right.
Then he could have.
Yeah, I don't know.
Though we find out, I think, in a later movie that he was sort of set up to fail on that regard.
Yeah. That kind of, like, is sort of the thing, is that what Jigsaw is trying to do in theory, you know, that he's putting people in these traps that are escapable, just require like a big sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of what happens over the course of the franchise as different accomplices get involved. Some of them create traps that are inescapable.
Yeah. These are stray.
Or are rigged against you.
We will talk more about Jigsaw, but I have questions about how escapable a bunch of barbed wire is, like climbing through barbed wire. Did you test that, Jigsaw? Did you make sure that a person of that size could get through that barbed wire without just fucking dying? Did you test that?
I don't know.
How scientific are your methods?
Right. Yeah. His methodology is
like I
lacking.
got questions.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, the only other thing I was going to say is that I do like their little forehead touch that they do.
Oh, yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
They don't get to touch each other for so long, and then they forehead touch. It's very sweet.
And then they never see each other again.
And I feel like maybe, Jigsaw's thing about taking the little jigsaw flesh out is all about, like, they didn't have the will to live. They were, like, missing that piece.
Right. Yeah, that's what he says in the second one when he's face-to-face with a detective played by Donnie Wahlberg, by the way.
Oh, God.
Playing a detective named Eric Matthews, which is the most boring name.
That is a detective name if I ever heard one.
And he does say that. He says, like, the jigsaw piece was meant to symbolize that they were missing something.
Yeah.
And then, of course, and then he's like, oh, well, I, never called myself the Jigsaw Killer. That was a name by the press. And they're like, well, you took jigsaw pieces, puzzle pieces out of your
people. And
so what did you expect?
And there are a lot of saws in your traps, I'm just going to say. There's a lot of saws. It's a little thematic. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, the puzzle piece kill. I don't know. But I just would like to posit that maybe the real missing puzzle piece for Adam and for Lawrence was each other.
All they needed was each other.
Because it's like, I love
Lawrence should have left his wife for Adam.
Yes, I do think it's really cool. Like, again, the cinematography is actually really cool. Like, the directing on this is really cool. I like that they purposely were like, okay, when we see Dr. Gordon, his camera shots are going to be, like, still and orderly. And when we move to Adam, it's all going to be, like, handheld camera, and it's going to be kind of shakier and stuff because he's, like, the more chaotic one.
Yep.
I love that. I love that they maybe kind of represent what the other is missing in their life or like what they want but don't really feel like they're allowed to have. Like Adam sort of wants like a middle-class life and stability maybe, but he's not allowed to have that because he's fucking poor.
Right.
And like maybe Larry wants to be able to be like passionate and have emotions. Like his wife calls him out for like, how can you just walk through life pretending that you're happy?
Oh yeah.
I'd rather you just break down and tell me you hate me. At least there'd be passion in it.
Yes.
Like that is something that Larry's missing, but that Adam has a lot of, and Adam also has kind of a lot of freedom, that Larry doesn't feel like he has because he's like work home, and like also just being gay, but that's like
that's just like your opinion.
That's just like my opinion, and also the opinion of most people who watch this film, as far as I can tell. Like, it seems pretty universal that people are like, that was a little gay, wasn't it?
Did you get this information from Tumblr?
No.
Okay, because we all know Tumblr is.
No, Tumblr thinks everything is gay. Yeah. Exactly. But no, fucking CinemaSins thinks it's gay.
Cool.
I don't know. It's like the fact that like when it's time for Larry to finally admit, like finally like, okay, I should do something to try to save my family now that the time has passed.
Yes.
And cut off my leg.
Yes.
That like going back. Okay, I'm going to get deep.
Okay.
Here's my deep thought. Okay. Going back to his heteronormative family involves literally cutting off a piece of himself. Literally taking away a part of himself. And it also involves leaving Adam behind. Which means leaving behind that other life that he could have been living. And going back into the closet where notably bad, evil men lurk. I don't know if that's related or not. It's just interesting. So I just kind of feel like Saw is maybe just a big metaphor for being like repressed and closeted, and how that's basically like cutting off a piece of yourself, and that self-mutilation, like it doesn't even allow you to like be there for the people you're supposed to be there for.
It just,
or like make you learn anything new and meaningful.
It just keeps you alive, keeps you surviving.
But it doesn't make you appreciate life. It's very apathetic.
Yeah.
It's very pathetic.
Huh.
That's my big thought.
Wow, I love it.
My big gay thought.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm ready for Literary Corner when you are.
This will feed very well into it.
I cannot wait. Literary Corner.
Okay, so.
Speaking of Adam and Larry.
Yes. First off, I just want to say that it is not lost on me that Adam is the biblical name.
His name is literally Adam.
And like,
yes.
Is he led to sin? No. Instead, Eve leaves him behind. I don't have a bigger
Are you
thought.
calling Dr. Lawrence Gordon Eve?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay.
I also saw some people referring to Adam as a sacrificial lamb.
Oh, yeah.
Which I like, but kind of disagree with because I feel like no one cares enough about Adam for his death to feel like a sacrifice. Really?
Right.
You know?
He's just a spare guy.
He's just like some guy.
Yeah.
He's just a spare guy.
Yeah.
Kill the spare. Yeah. Like, Larry is the one who's supposed to kill him, and he is the only one who, like, kind of cares for Adam. And, like, Adam's death would hurt him. But he doesn't make the sacrifice. He's the only one who could make Adam a sacrificial lamb, and he doesn't do it because he doesn't believe in the God that is Jigsaw. Because another theme of this movie is that Jigsaw plays God all the time.
Yes.
So then Jigsaw really just needs to kind of kill Adam himself, just sort of to save God face. Okay. But what I really want to talk about in terms of mythological stuff is actually more Greco-Roman.
Of course.
Which is based on the fact that Jigsaw's lair that Detective Tapp and Detective Singh find is on, they say it is on Stygian Street.
Stygian?
Stygian Street.
Okay.
So first off,
that's a heck of a word.
James Wan's first film,
yes,
that also I think had Leigh Whannell in it,
yes,
was called Stygian.
Of course.
So this is probably just a nod to his other thing.
Right.
But Stygian is a word, it means kind of like dank and scary and bad and stuff. But it comes from the River Styx. Oh. That is what Stygian means. The River Styx.
Oh, so that's the word to describe the River Styx.
Yeah.
Got it.
Things that are like the River Styx, things that are like being of the underworld are Stygian.
Stygian. Beautiful.
Which
I learned a new word.
I love, because if his lair is on Stygian Street, that puts him in a position as a psychopomp, which is the fancy word for the type of gods who sort of travel between the underworld and the mortal world. Okay. Like Charon, who ferries the dead across the River Styx.
Yeah.
Or the River Acheron, depending on your which myths you're reading.
Yeah.
But, you know, somebody who traverses those boundaries of the mortal world and the underworld, which I think kind of makes Jigsaw's traps a form of underworld. Which helps with how claustrophobic they are, too.
Yeah.
They feel underground. I don't know if that bathroom is underground, but it feels underground. It feels like a subway bathroom or something, you know?
Something very industrial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and therefore unnatural.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I just got really into the idea of the Jigsaw traps being a form of, like, to go back to more Christian mythology, limbo or something. You know, like being this type of underworld that you can get stuck in and maybe get back out of. But most people don't, because usually when you go to the underworld, you're done there. And what's really cool, swearing on, like, when gods swear on the Styx, it's considered the greatest oath a god can make, which I find interesting with Jigsaw, because he seems like the kind of serial killer who, like, has a code, you know, who's like, these are the rules and I'm going to follow these rules and I'm going to play fair. And he's sort of like swearing on the Styx. Like, yeah, if you can beat this trap, then you're free to go. Yep. Amanda beat the trap. She's free to go. She got out of the underworld. Yep. I love that. There's the Roman myth of Cupid and Psyche, where at one point Cupid's mother Venus sets Psyche a number of like impossible tasks. She's like, Psyche, you know, any person who catches the ire of a god is kind of in trouble.
They're pretty fucked,
you know? But Psyche's in this position where it's like, well, you can get out of this if you complete all these tasks, but all these tasks are like almost impossible to complete.
Yeah.
And in some myths, one of them is to bring back water from the River Styx, which is like so daunting a task to like actually go down to the edge of the underworld and bring back water from the River Styx that she like freezes up and almost can't do it. She gets helped by ants or something. I don't remember.
Ants?
She gets helped by a lot of woodland creatures and stuff. She's a very Disney princess, Psyche.
I love that. That also makes me think of the story of Hercules, how Hercules had to do the feats, which of course were not impossible for him.
But, right, yes. But that's sort of what I'm thinking of also, though, is the idea of like impossible tasks. And like supposedly they're not impossible, but the idea of actually succeeding at them is like Jigsaw is not setting these people up for success.
Nope.
So I thought that was an interesting one.
Yep.
Also, go back to more, getting a little more biblical again. In Dante's Inferno, you know, how he goes through all those different layers of hell?
Yes.
He actually makes the River Styx the fifth circle of hell. And it's more like this marshland.
Yeah.
It's the fifth circle of
I've
hell.
read Dante's Inferno. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the layer for the people who are angry and sullen and get punished because they're angry and they're sullen, which I also thought was sort of a hot emotion for these particular films.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know because I haven't watched the other ones, but the energy I got from Jigsaw is that he's really just angry that he's dying and he's taking it out on people. Mm-hmm. That's my big read on Jigsaw. I don't know. Other people might feel differently.
Yeah.
So I love that. And the other thing I love is that I saw somebody referring to that last moment that I talked about where Larry's about to leave and he turns back to Adam and he's like, would I lie to you? So I saw somebody refer to that as his Orpheus moment. I think we talked about Orpheus and Eurydice on a different episode.
Yep.
And just the idea of what if the bathroom is the underworld and one of them is already doomed from the beginning to be stuck there forever? Mm-hmm. That Larry is Orpheus and he is going to get out because he's of the mortal world. He's sort of been pre-chosen to live.
Yeah.
And Adam has already died the moment he set foot in there.
Yeah.
Like it was already...
When he wakes up in the bathtub and his key goes down the drain.
Yeah, it was already set up against him. When in his little envelope, he got a cassette, whereas in Lawrence's envelope, he got a cassette, a bullet, and a key.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is set up against you.
Yep.
But it's also about like... Does that mean there was never any way for Adam to succeed because it was so set up against him? And the idea with Orpheus and Eurydice is that it's sort of Orpheus's grief and his love for Eurydice that makes him turn around at that last second and make sure that she is still there.
Oh my God.
And that is why she is doomed to die.
It makes me so mad. The entire story is infuriating. I don't understand. Like, I'm sure it's been like told in ways that make Orpheus seem like more of a hero, but it was like he literally could not trust his beloved.
Yeah.
He could not trust her.
The versions that I like are the versions where he steps into the mortal world and that's when he turns around because it doesn't occur to him that she hasn't.
Okay.
That's the version I like.
I like that
But
more.
I also like the version where it isn't, you can't think of him as a real person. You have to think of him as a personification of grief.
Yeah.
And the idea that you can't keep looking back at the people who died. Like you have to keep them with you.
Yeah.
But if you're constantly looking back for them, you're not doing either of yourselves like any favors.
Yeah, that's fair.
like that.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, it's just like you just weren't listening to your girlfriend is what happened, and then now she's damned.
Yeah.
For all of eternity because of what you did.
To be fair, she's not damned. She's just in the underworld.
She's just in the underworld, which is
cool.
Really neither here nor there.
The underworld's just fine, basically.
Yeah, it's just there. Yeah.
It's a little different for Adam. Adam is certainly damned. And then it did get me thinking, like, how much is it... It got me thinking about if Adam and Lawrence cared about each other less, could Adam have lived? Is there any way where that could have happened? By which I mean, like would things have changed if Adam hadn't, like, gotten the energy up to knock Zepp unconscious and stuff? Or, like, to death, actually.
Right.
Totally kill him.
Yeah.
You know, if Adam had just stayed unconscious. Like, if Lawrence didn't go over to, like, check on Adam and touch Adam and just be all over Adam before he left, if he got out quicker.
Forever.
If he just, like, fucking left.
Yeah.
And, like, if Adam was, like, still unconscious, maybe, or quote-unquote unconscious when Jigsaw got up, like, could Jigsaw have been satisfied that Lawrence did mean to kill Adam, even though, you know, because if Larry didn't say, like, oh, I didn't mean to actually kill you, could Jigsaw have been satisfied that, like, the sacrifice was made and therefore be able to let Adam go? And also now Adam in that scenario would not actually see Jigsaw's face and therefore could be useful as, like, somebody out in the world being like, yeah, it was Zepp. It was Zepp the whole time.
Yeah.
I totally know it was Zepp.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, like, if Lawrence hadn't made it clear that he never intended to kill Adam and therefore he hadn't been changed by Jigsaw's trap in the way that Jigsaw wanted him to be changed for whatever reason.
Right.
Could Adam have been just sort of, like, forgotten about and therefore didn't need to be killed or locked away? Could they have just been like, whatever, he served his purpose, it doesn't matter, I guess he won his thing, he can go? And, like, if they didn't reach out for each other in those final moments and prove that Jigsaw's trap didn't work how he wanted it to, could they have both lived? Or does it not matter because Adam was dead from the moment he woke up in there,
right,
and his key was going down the drain because no singing to Jigsaw's tune would have ever freed him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just thinking about, like, the fate of it all by thinking about it as, like, Greek myth and, like, how much was Adam fated to die?
I mean, you know, Katie, we're all fated to die.
Well, there is that.
You know?
There is that.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, as somebody who has actually engaged with this franchise, all films, multiple times over, I don't really think about Adam that much. I think, honestly, like, to me, and it's hard because in the first one, Jigsaw is kind of a non-character.
Yeah.
There's, like, lore about him. Like, he's sort of like an urban legend, really. But Jigsaw, the character, John Kramer, to me, is the most interesting part of this franchise.
Which is, it's interesting. To me, just having only watched the first film.
Just the first one, yeah.
He's kind of just a fickle god figure, but he isn't a person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And the only people that there are to, like, think about are Larry and Adam.
Yeah.
Like,
they're
nobody
the
else
people.
are characters. Yeah. And I guess the detectives, too.
Yeah.
Especially Detective Tapp.
And again, like I've already mentioned, like, we kind of only get to know Adam in relation to Dr. Gordon.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, it's like, oh, this is kind of like Dr. Gordon's movie. You know?
I have so many more thoughts about Adam. We'll get to them.
I love that. Yeah, we can totally talk about it.
I will sprinkle them throughout.
Perfect.
It is insane to me. I did not expect to like this movie.
Yes.
And I did not expect to spend so much time just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just in my off hours. Just like going to bed being like, and then what if?
And then what if? Kind of like Purge Law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got me like the Purge did.
Yeah. Saw Law. Ooh, that's got a ring to it. Yeah.
But there's no law in this film.
No. No.
So the cops,
though.
I do appreciate that the first thing Lawrence did was lawyer up.
Absolutely,
like,
got to.
A fucking role model.
Yes. So there's something else happening in this movie where we also get, like, the moral panic about cities and crime. And how, like, we never know what city this is.
Yeah.
We just know, we don't know it, like, East Coast, West Coast. Like, we just know that it is a city that we are meant to believe is in the United States.
And that is experiencing a little bit of decay.
Yeah. Pretty significant decay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so often people on the internet will refer to the city, like the city that this takes place in, as Saw City.
Saw City.
Yeah. However, I did rewatch Spiral a while ago, and which is about the police officers. And they work on their little patch on their arms says South Metro Police Department.
Oh, yes. The south of the metro.
The south of the metro, not the metro.
No.
South Metro.
So it's South Saw City.
South Metro Saw City.
Yes.
So that's nowhere. That's nothing. That describes nothing. So it's kind of meant to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Or it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
And then we totally have this moral panic about cities decaying and crime. Always so scared about crime.
Yeah.
And where does crime happen? Apparently only in cities.
Yes.
So law enforcement has a really big role in the entire series.
Yeah.
But also in this movie. Mm-hmm. We really just have the two main detectives. And actually, we do get one detective. Sorry, hold on. Where's her name?
That lady detective.
Yeah.
I liked her voice.
Carrie.
Her way of describing the cases. She's like,
so she very
stomach acid on the floor.
See?
That's how she sounded. It was great.
Yeah, and she actually, because, I mean, our two main detectives die.
They just fucking die, yeah.
She's kind of...
go Zep getting a kill in there.
Yeah, she's like the main detective on the Jigsaw case for a couple of movies.
Oh, hey, good for her. And then she dies.
She gets got, yeah.
I have a feeling she might have gotten got. Poor Detective Carrie.
I'll tell you all about it later. So we really just have two detectives, and, like, their moral compasses are not good.
Yeah.
They're doing stuff without a warrant.
That's what, like, they didn't need us as the audience to know that the cops did not have a warrant. It seems reasonable that they could have gotten a warrant.
Sure.
But they didn't. It seems reasonable that enough time has passed that either Jigsaw has already left this layer behind or he isn't leaving it behind for a while. So they have time for a warrant.
Yeah.
But, like, this movie is very specifically like, they didn't get a warrant.
Yep.
And I'm like,
they suffer the consequences of not getting a warrant.
Is that just so that their deaths feel more justified?
Maybe.
Or is it just to, like, heighten Detective Tapp's guilt afterwards? Because he has some major survivor's guilt.
Definitely.
He's, like, talking to his dead detective partner.
Yes. Yeah, I wonder about that. Or that, like, I think it kind of shows because there are a lot of crooked cops. Like crooked cops kind of become a thing in this franchise. That like to kind of show that no system is particularly trustworthy here.
Yeah,
which might explain, kind of make it make more sense as to why Jigsaw is doing all of this.
Because then it becomes a vigilante story.
Yeah.
It becomes, what's the difference between Jigsaw and Batman, other than the fact that killing, the murder, the murder of it all.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
But like, yeah, he's a vigilante. He's going after people who like quote unquote deserve it,
right?
You know, because the cops aren't doing their job or whatever. I guess would be the reasoning,
right?
Which I don't buy personally, but I do find it interesting that the cops are set up to be the ones who could catch Jigsaw if they had played by the rules more,
right,
and not done things sort of the outside of the law Jigsaw way. Like, because the one place where they do succeed is there when they get to his lair, they find some guy there who's like set up in a little test trap.
Yeah.
Jigsaw's just testing out a trap on some guy.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
He's just some guy. We don't need to know who he is. Yep. He's just another spare guy that Jigsaw has.
And do they even help him get out?
Well, that's the thing that I like in the one place where they succeed is that Jigsaw's like, here's a ring of keys. Find the one that can save the man before the drill goes into his brain or whatever.
That's right, yeah.
And Detective Singh is like trying to try all these other keys. And then he's like, why the fuck am I playing Jigsaw's stupid game? Right. I have a gun. And then you just shoots open the lock and the guy gets out.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, lives. I don't know. We don't hear otherwise.
Yeah.
We don't hear otherwise.
Yep.
And I like the implication that the cops could be better off if they didn't do the sort of outside of the law Jigsaw games. If they had gotten a warrant, like maybe they could have caught Jigsaw. They would have gone in with a fucking bomb squad and they would have checked for fucking traps.
Yeah.
But no, they fail because they try to play it more like Jigsaw. They try to play it more like vigilantes.
Right. And you can also tell that they've never played Dungeons and Dragons because you always check for traps.
Check for traps.
Yes.
You're dealing with a mad warlock.
Yep.
Check for traps.
You know he's got them. You know he's got traps.
You know he's got traps.
And that's what gets Detective Singh.
It gets him. The other thing that I kind of like about detective fiction, and we could talk about how this movie sort of plays into detective fiction, which we already kind of did with like, it has red herrings and like, we sort of see the crime set out and then we find out more about who's behind the crimes, you know, and who the victims are later after we see the crime. You know?
We do get like pretty much every clue that we need.
Yeah, all of that stuff.
What happens in every single movie in this series is we get every clue we need. And then they spend the last 15 minutes of the movie explaining
all of the clues.
How every clue was there the entire time.
Which is very, it's like the moment at the end of an Agatha Christie novel where he's not a detective, he's a private investigator. Poirot.
Yeah.
Is like, yes, it's just sort of like, but you see.
Yes.
I knew it was you all along because of the red lipstick stain on the blah, blah, blah. You know, and then this other clue. Like, it's straight out of detective fiction.
Very.
And then the other thing that I feel like is straight out of more modern detective fiction or like more... starting in like the 60s after the golden age of detective fiction is for like that hard-boiled when we're getting into noir shit
yes
is the focus on who the killer is and like why people commit crime instead of just like uncovering who they are, you know. It's like, who are they as a person, what's the psychological stuff behind it, and also the psychology of the people who are like interacting with the criminal. And like obsession becomes like a really big theme in a lot of those types of things.
You know what this is making me think of right now?
What?
Scooby-Doo. Because they always unmask the person, and then the person gives their spiel, like, I just wanted to save my amusement park that was going out of business, you know? And it's like, economically, times are tough. I get it.
But you can't resort to be trying to be a vampire king.
There's also these meddling kids.
There's these meddling kids. Anyway, I like that we see that a lot of this is about Jigsaw's obsession with, like, life and death.
Yes.
Which he is just handling in the sanest of ways.
Yes.
But also, like, Detective Tapp's, like, I just feel like his main overriding character trait is obsession.
Yes, he is obsessed with Jigsaw.
And with Dr. Gordon, who he thinks is or is involved with Jigsaw.
Has something to do with it, yeah.
It's like all he can think about.
Yeah.
He's more focused on catching Jigsaw than he is on, like, saving Jigsaw's victims. Which we see in that lair scene where it's like Detective Singh is like, I'm going to do all these keys and try to figure out
how to this guy out of here,
And Detective Tapp is still like, nah, I'm on Jigsaw 24/7.
Yeah. And then Jigsaw is at this point is sort of like gallivanting around in a robe.
I know. Just so sane.
Very sane. Very not culty at all.
No, very normal. He definitely doesn't have a bunch of followers. Don't worry about it.
He doesn't have disciples and acolytes at all.
He's not playing a god.
No. And then like tricks him and gets him, like cuts him in the throat.
Yes.
And you do really think that that's it for him, but he comes back.
He just has a fucking blade in his sleeve. Just a little blade that comes out like he's fucking Wolverine.
Yeah, because he's doing fine. He's handling everything completely fine.
He's just so good at things. Yeah. And also just more on the idea of obsession.
Yes.
I was also just thinking about like how much that can be said about the other characters. Like, to what extent can we talk about Amanda's drug addiction as a form of obsession?
Oh, yeah.
The obsessive nature of Adam's work, where he has to stalk people.
Yeah.
And watch people. And then I was like, does Lawrence have an obsession?
Is he a workaholic?
I guess.
Is he addicted to being busy?
I was like, or is it because he doesn't have an obsession that Jigsaw's sort of targeting him?
Yeah.
Where he's like, you are so, like, he doesn't even seem that into his own affair that he's having.
No, yeah.
He works long hours, but it's not necessarily implied that he loves his job or anything, that he's like obsessed with it, other than just like as an excuse to like not be at home.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, and I also think,
because he's not obsessed with his family. He doesn't even seem to like them much.
No, but it's I think like kind of what Jigsaw is going for is that like, oh, you are a bad husband and father, and you need to change that. And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't seem enthusiastic, but like he actually, especially with his wife for sure, but like he does end up engaging with his daughter. Like, you know, she has a quote unquote nightmare because she thinks there's a scary man in her room, which
they're fucking. Dad, check the closet.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Doesn't he? Or does he just kind of do a half like
he does? Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't give a thorough search according to the Katy method of thoroughly searching a bedroom
for monsters.
Yes.
You
gotta put your hand in there and really move around the clothes.
We're meant to believe that he like, you know, he's supposed to be this neglectful father because his daughter comes down and asks to be put back to bed with a story, right?
Yeah.
And he takes like 30 seconds to finish a thought on his email or whatever the fuck.
And then he goes
doing.
and like does the story, but then he leaves her again to go have an affair, which he then doesn't have.
Right, but
like, dude just doesn't know what he's doing.
But that is also like when his child is in the most danger is when he leaves, right? So, but it's just kind of interesting that like I feel like they're really trying to pin him as like, you know, a bad dad, and they're like.
And a bad husband.
He's not a bad dad. He might be a bad husband.
He's kind of a bad husband,
but that doesn't make him a bad dad.
And I'm not even sure if he's a bad husband or if him and Allie just don't get along.
If they're done.
If they're just done. If the passion just got.
Yeah, whatever.
You know, like that happens. That's not necessarily anybody's fault. But anyway, detective stories.
Right, yeah.
I did have a sort of, I don't know, discussion question, I guess.
Okay.
What is the difference between like a slasher film and a serial killer film? Because this is not a slasher film, but it is a serial killer film.
Right.
And also, like, does the Saw franchise sort of feed into the aggrandizement and worship of the serial killer, quote unquote, including like real life serial killers that we do in our society, where we like always have the killer who is like the genius. Yeah. And in this case, he's a killer who explicitly... Even I think the detectives, definitely Dr. Gordon at one point is like, well, he's technically not a killer because he never actually murders anybody. They like murder themselves. So like he's not a killer. And therefore he's like also put up as like the main moral compass of the film because he's like, he's the one going after the bad guys. The cops aren't doing it. The serial killer is.
It's kind of true though.
And there's like, yeah, exactly. And there's nobody to do like there's no opposing viewpoint to be like, well, but also he's a murderer and crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
And has a brain tumor.
As a frontal lobe brain tumor, which is 100% impacting his judgment.
And so maybe we should take a beat.
Yeah.
And think about his methodology.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is totally a serial killer movie because we do have law enforcement and media playing a role. Right, like we see the little newspaper clippings and all that stuff.
And the idea of him being called the Jigsaw killer.
Right, yeah, very media for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because Jigsaw does usually end up on lists of slashers, like slasher killers, psycho killers.
Would disagree.
But he doesn't, it's not a perfect fit, right?
No, it just didn't, like, nothing about this film feels like watching a slasher. Maybe some of the other ones, but nothing in this film felt like watching a slasher.
Right, because, again, he's not directly killing anybody.
Yeah.
Thinking about slasher movies like Scream, I think kind of what makes a slasher and different from serial killer movies is, like, do we actually see the act? Right.
Yes.
So a lot of serial killer movies can kind of disguise themselves as not being a horror movie. I'm thinking about Silence of the Lambs. Because we don't actually see anyone get murdered.
Yeah. And because, like I said, I think
by another human being.
It's a little bit more focused on, like, the psychology of why, whereas in slashers it's like, I don't know, he's a vengeful ghost. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
He's a nightmare king. It's fine.
Yeah. Right. And I that's interesting. I think you're making a beautiful segue into our horror corner for this episode, where the psychology of it is what's really interesting to us. And I think that that's part of the subgenre and, like, how it basically exists as a direct result of September 11th.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was...
Mostly just saw a lot of memes about people being... Because there's the phone... Dr. Gordon gets the phone, and on the phone it says that it is September 10th, 2001.
Yes, sure does.
And it's just all the memes about, like, wow, can you imagine being in the saw bathroom, and then the next day that happens.
And then the next day,
wow, today sucks. Tomorrow's also a doozy.
Yeah.
Because it's an issue, because this movie does not come out in 2001.
No,
there's no reason why it takes place in 2001 other than it just does. Somebody in the props department was like, what if?
What if? Yeah. So it's interesting. I was thinking about this. How, you and I both fall in the label of millennial.
Yes.
As our generation, our generational identity. And I was thinking about it, like, really what makes a millennial is, like, the sheer amount of whole societal trauma that we have experienced, really kicking off with September 11th.
Yes.
Right? Which happened when we were 9.
Yeah. What, like 4th grade? Something like that?
Yeah, 4th grade. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember my 4th grade teacher coming in with the newspaper with the big headline.
Oh, we watched it on TV.
So inappropriate.
Super inappropriate. Yeah. I don't know why I went to school that day. I don't know why my parents went to work that day.
People just carried on. Like, life was fine.
Because...
we didn't know what else to do.
Well, yeah, and, like, 20...
And how do you call into your boss, like, I'm not coming in today because of the major national trauma we're all facing?
Right. What? No. Yeah. And so it's a crazy day, and really, you got to really dig in to understand how much has changed as a direct result of September 11th.
Yeah.
Right. So if you were born post 9/11, right, there's just, like, a lot of things that are just normal.
Yeah, like
to you,
this level of surveillance that we just live with,
and what it takes to get through airport security.
Yeah,
right. It really does just sort of change everything. And also what we have to remember is that, like, there had not been, like, that big of, like, an act of war on U.S. soil since
what, Pearl Harbor,
which was technically not even a U.S. state yet.
Yeah.
Right? It was like just a base.
Yeah.
Like, this is not an attack on a military base. This is attack on American civilians.
Yeah.
In the most populated city in the country. Like, this is unheard of. Something that many Americans thought was not possible. And then all of a sudden, it's possible.
Right, yeah.
And then we have...
it's like a home invasion on a grand scale.
Yes. Yeah, like the biggest example of home invasion. Yeah. And then so we get the ensuing, what, the United States government administrations do is, like, the ensuing war on terror, right?
It's always great when there's a war on a noun.
A noun, yes. On an inanimate object, it's going to go great every single time. War on terror,
war
solved.
On drugs.
War on drugs, solved. War on hunger, nobody's hungry anymore, right? So easy. So, we get this war on terror, and we do get this new era of media coverage about the war on terror. And, like, I remember like looking at the terrorist threat level every day.
Yes.
Right.
What did that mean for us?
What did it mean?
As, 10-year-olds.
Nothing.
What were we going to do with that?
It meant
Why did we need to know that?
So obviously, like that's kind of our as millennials, like first big trauma. And then when we're in high school, the economy collapses.
Yeah.
Right. The subprime mortgage bubble bursts. Both my parents lose their jobs. I'm sure a lot of other people do as well.
People lose homes.
Just in time for us to go to college.
Yeah.
And then just as we're like basically in the timing that we should,
be starting our adult life,
quote unquote, starting a career or whatever our adult life is supposed to look like, we're hit with a once in a century global pandemic, which other generations also went through.
Yes.
But so...
a lot of generations have their own types of trauma as well.
Absolutely.
We didn't live through a world war.
No, we did not.
But...
So...
These particular traumas...
Neither did we live through a draft.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, these are very specific and incredibly relevant traumas.
Yes.
And we see it immediately in our entertainment media.
Yes.
Like
lots of people have talked about like country music, how much country music changed after 9/11 and the War of Terror, how it became very like
pro-America, very patriotic.
Very like, put my boot up your ass or whatever that song is and all of that shit.
Absolutely.
Like country music was a lot more like rebel outlaw country music was a lot more popular before that point. And then afterwards it was like, no, only the patriotic shit.
Right, yeah.
We're gonna like shit on the Dixie Chicks.
Yes.
And like
who make actually not that insensitive or insulting of a comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
So the paranoia and the propaganda is high.
Yes.
And so it immediately shows up in our media, right? Mm-hmm. Including in horror movies. Like not even this idea of torture porn, which
we will get into.
Let's talk about. But like just horror movies in general. There is like a huge production boom in horror movies, basically starting in 2002. Like almost immediately, it's just like horror movies. Yeah. Because if you think about it, 2001... Scream has kind of fizzled out by this point. Scream was kind of that new, like, here's what's new in horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The meta horror.
Metatextual. Yeah. Self-referential horror. Slashers specifically. And then that's kind of starting to die down.
And they haven't found out the new thing yet.
And then Saw comes out in 2004. And is largely considered, a lot of people can make a lot of arguments, that Saw's cinematic release is the birthday of the subgenre of torture porn. And, I'm sure you looked into it a little bit, but really when we talk about torture porn, the main American films we're talking about is Saw, which again, written and directed by Australians, and Hostel.
Yes.
Written and directed by Eli Roth, who is American.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hostile movies take place in other countries, though.
They do.
But Americans are the ones doing the torturing?
No.
Or they're the ones getting tortured?
They're the ones who get tortured. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
For all of our information, I actually learned that the term torture porn has one specific origin.
Yes.
New York Magazine film critic David Edelstein.
Okay.
Using it, I think, to describe Hostel in 2005.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. So I've honestly always been like a little confused about like what exactly is torture porn. Mm-hmm. So I took like a couple of definitions that I'm like, okay, this is fine. Mm-hmm. I like this one. Very straightforward. A subgenre of horror film that focuses in extensive graphic detail on the infliction of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess my question would be like, where is the line from that and like body horror?
Exactly.
Which feel like similar genres to me.
Very.
Other than I feel like maybe torture porn is a subgenre of body horror, because body horror can do a lot of other things like possession, possessed body parts. That's not really torture porn, but like it is body horror.
Yeah. This says a ruptured sewage pipe, deluge of gore, mutilation, and general unpleasantness.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because you're talking about Saw being like the birth of torture porn, how much it is responsible for like the sort of one-upmanship that I feel like horror films are still engaged in.
Right. Well, and it also goes back to, was that the beginning of this year when we did Scream 2? The idea of sequels.
Yeah.
To do what the first one did,
but bloodier.
Better and more.
Yeah.
Yep. So we get that in, the ensuing 9 other films.
Yeah, because like we were talking about, this movie is not, like, by today's standards, I would not call this movie torture porn.
No. Well,
it's 2 guys sitting in a bathroom. Like,
right.
I don't know what else you want.
So I actually, this last time, well, I've seen this movie, I don't know how many times, but this last time watching it with you guys, I actually realized, I think about like the term torture porn, and to me, that like prolonged, focus on the anguish, that happens once in this film, and it is when Dr. Gordon's family is abducted and Zepp like has the gun to her head, and it lingers there for
that is a good part.
A while.
And a good example.
And I'm like, that's torture porn.
Yeah.
Dr. Gordon sawing off his leg,
well,
I don't know so much.
Especially since in that moment we get a little bit of Dr. Gordon, but mostly the person who seems to be being tortured in that moment is Adam.
Right.
Adam is losing
Does not want him to be doing that.
No, he is very against it.
Yes.
Like, he seems to be more tortured by the act than Lawrence is, which is, I don't know, interesting, but also takes away from the torture of it.
Right. So you hooked me up with a resource.
Yes.
What was it called again? Wait, I have it here.
It's
Devil's
a book
Advocate.
series. Yeah, a book series called The Devil's Advocate, which has a number of books about different people just write about different horror movies. Yeah. And there's one about Saw.
Right, written by Benjamin Poole.
Yes.
And so Benjamin Poole references a critic, Wendy Ide, that the September 11th and the subsequent War on Terror basically desensitizes audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, especially a lot of us, including myself, like, we watched that. It was live on the news.
Yeah.
They played it all day.
Yeah.
And the next day.
Yeah. I automatically can close my eyes and still see it.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I watched it at school.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So it does sort of desensitize people to violence, especially if we're living in a world where that sort of event is not fathomable. It is literally not possible to all of a sudden it's possible and it happened.
Yeah. I also feel like a part of that desensitization, something I was going to say about the other difference between body horror in general and like torture porn specifically is that I feel like torture porn implies somebody is doing the torturing.
Yes.
Somebody is getting something out of this. Body horror could just be like a possession. I mean, like it could be like a virus or something. Virus isn't like getting something out of it. Right. Torture porn is like somebody is actively harming you.
Yes.
And I feel like that is very like I guess the difference between the trauma of 9/11 versus the trauma of COVID. Right. Where 9/11 felt like somebody coming and attacking you.
Yeah, there is like...
Whereas COVID was like a natural tragedy.
Yeah, like
that nobody could have stopped.
Yeah, that there was a like quote unquote like foreign adversary.
Yes.
That could be named and identified.
Yes, a specific torturer.
Yes.
Which is interesting in combination with the idea of Americans doing a lot of torturing in the Middle East. But yeah. I mean... Talking about getting desensitized is the amount of things we saw.
Right. So
torture, beheadings.
This is what Wendy Ide says. She says, with the human capacity for evil demonstrated so unequivocally by September 11th and its aftermath.
Yeah,
the horror genre kind of needs to plumb to new depths to continue to get that shock value that people go watch horror movies for.
So it's not just that the later Saws need to build upon the previous Saws, but also that Saw itself had to build upon just our natural, what we were living with.
Yeah, right. Hence the advent of torture porn, such as in the Saw franchise, right? So what's interesting is what we get. So really 2 main examples. The big ones are Saw and Hostel. But what we get in the aughts, right, in direct response, is we get... And interestingly, a huge slate of remakes. I was telling you this off mic. Like in the early aughts, we get a Friday the 13th remake. We get a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. We get a Halloween remake. Yeah. And then we also get the Hills Have Eyes remake, which then does kind of become more torture porn
than the original one.
Even though the original is pretty rough.
Yeah. And I feel like that is a thread in horror films and also films in general that have not stopped of just remakes and reboots and sequels.
And remaking it for the new generation's, tastes.
That's apparently all we do now.
Yeah, pretty much. And then so it's interesting the way that we have this slate of remakes, but so many of the remakes, the movies that are being remade also fit this sort of genre. That we get the slasher films and the aughts tend to like really focus on young people who have wandered into territories or places that they are not equipped to deal with.
Oh.
And usually do not come off very well to usually hostile locals. So a really great example is the movie Hostel, because it kind of actually shows us the way the rest of the world sees America and Americans, like as arrogant and imperialistic.
Right? Yeah. While seeing themselves as a victim.
Yeah. And then, Eli Roth even says that like the imagery in the film was directly inspired by scenes from the Abu Ghraib prison. So yeah, life is imitating art is imitating life.
Yeah.
And then when we do see some of the torture chambers that Jigsaw constructs,
in later films,
it kind of actually also, I don't know, I haven't seen these images and I'm super cool to never see them. But like a lot of the particularly sadistic shit that has happened at Guantanamo Bay.
Oh.
And then like especially, and then also in the Saw series past, and including this one, and the ones like seeing those chopped limbs and like people needing to give up something, like, their hand or a specific amount of blood, or brain matter, also like kind of mirrors hostage executions.
Yeah.
Like all
That's
of the stuff that comes out of the War on Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because
it's in our movies.
That's the other thing I was thinking of, because it's not just that people are getting tortured in this film, but it's this idea that people are being tortured for their own good. And the idea that torture is like a moral good thing to do, which is definitely very aftermath of 9/11. But also made me think a lot of like morality tales from like the Middle Ages, where it's like it's a very Christian understanding of the world to imply that suffering is like this important teacher.
Very Protestant.
That will like inform your values. And I did from that same book you were just talking about. I liked this point to move a little bit away from 9/11, but also not. I guess just to add more to it. This quote: "Death and gore have been displayed and commoditized for centuries. Witness the Victorian galleries that towered around medical operations or the public hangings, both swollen with paying public attendees.
Bloodsport.
Saw is a continuation of this principle at its most direct, a spectacle of suffering that allows audiences to explore notions of their own humanity and its limits from a safe, responsible distance. Responsible as, after all, no one is really being hurt or killed within horror's artificial diegesis." And I do think that's another important, like why are horror films doing this other than because we're desensitized and so they have to be bigger and bloodier? Like talking about like the catharsis, what is this horror film making us feel? What fear is this horror film making us more capable of facing? And this idea of like, we know that this torture is going on and we need a way to face it, but we don't feel equipped to face it. So we are going to face it through our movies in a way that feels safe to face that fear.
That's what horror movies do.
And that is something that really, is very pronounced in that era following 9/11, but also that is something that like has also existed through culture.
Yeah. I think also going back to your question about like, what is the difference between a quote unquote torture porn film and just like any other given kind of slasher or body horror movie. Some interesting stuff happens within, when torture porn kind of hits its peak as a subgenre. And what's really interesting to me is that the person who coined this phrase, calling it torture porn, which is interesting because I think people would be forgiven for assuming that there's a sexual nature to it.
Right.
There's not, though.
Right.
Like in Saw, like there's no sex.
No.
In Saw.
No. There is an attempt at an affair that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
Very pathetically.
Part of John Kramer, Jigsaw's lore, is that he had a wife who was pregnant and they lost the baby.
Right.
But there's no sex. There's no romance. Like that is
happening.
not happening in this franchise.
Yeah.
Even in a movie like Hostel and Hostel Part 2, where there is sex like adjacent within the story, but it has nothing to do with the torture.
Yeah.
It's actually the main characters who objectify women. And then it's actually, spoiler, those objectified women who end up like putting them in the position
to be
tortured. Yeah.
Well,
so
I think,
gender, it's interesting gender things are happening in
and I
torture
think the other
porn.
thing that's like definitely coming out of 9/11, like I said, is like the surveillance aspect.
Absolutely.
We are getting surveilled at that time more
You're
than we
being
had
watched.
ever before.
Yep.
And like the idea of voyeurism, which I think is kind of where the porn part comes in for me.
Yes.
That we are watching something that we should not be watching or don't have permission to be watching.
Yeah,
or something. It feels voyeuristic, and that's what makes it feel porny.
Yeah, something
even though it's not sexual.
that there is something about us as humans that it is interested and drawn to this, but also there's
feels
a part
like guilty or shamed
that
about
we know it's not
for us.
good.
It's not. Yeah. While at the same time, the film itself engages in like themes of surveillance and voyeurism with like Jigsaw has his little peephole that he's using to watch some of his murder victims and like the little camera through the two-way mirror and Adam's whole profession.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, everything's always filmed. Yeah. And then I have one other source I used, which is called Torture Porn in the Wake of 9/11. What? Horror exploitation and the cinema of sensation.
Cinema of sensation. That's good. That's a good turn of phrase.
It is, yeah. By Michael Aaron Kerner.
Good job.
And so Kerner illustrates how like the film series like Saw and like Hostel can kind of like what you were just talking about, like depict the fundamental contradictions in U.S. society.
Yes.
And expose how Americans, like how we imagine ourselves as like agents of righteousness.
Yeah. We were the victims.
Torchbearers of freedom and democracy.
So we need to go out there and
And so
we're saving the Middle East.
But then also simultaneously acknowledging that like there's implicit and also explicit like sanctioning of actual torture.
Yeah, literal torture.
Literal torture. So again, that's kind of what horror movies do, is they help us sort of like process our emotions and our anxieties in like a safe way.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's literally, and that's what's really interesting about Hostel is that it's actually taking place in Europe.
Right.
And the way that they trick these dumbass Americans is that they say, oh, well, come to this country or come to this city as you're on your, your backpacking European vacation. Because like there was a really big war, and so there's not a lot of men. So it's like a lot of women and not a lot of men.
Will just be crazy
all over you. Yeah, and then of course like none of the American characters know that actually there hasn't been a war there in decades.
Yeah. They just assume like that.
Yeah, right. And they're like,
Backwater,
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that it is, that's the thing is like in Hostel, it is like the ugly Americans who are getting tortured. And this is the other thing in Hostel and also kind of in Saw is that the people who are doing this are literally just some guy.
Yes.
So that's what happens in Hostel. They're people who have a lot of money. They're rich, right? Yeah. But they're just like they're family men. Like
they just wanted to do it.
Yeah, they just want to be able to do that to another person.
Yeah.
And they have the money, and so they're going to do whatever they want. And then that's kind of one of the like existential questions of torture porn that happens in a lot of these movies is, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Which again, I think kind of goes back to like September 11th. Like, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. Especially to like people like you and I who were children.
Yes.
Who didn't have like historical understanding to be like, oh, well, actually the World Trade Center was attacked like less than a decade before. And like, actually the CIA and the FBI totally know about these guys, the whole thing.
It all seemed like a shock.
Yeah. So it is sort of,
like
that's
unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
When like it wasn't.
Highly predictable. Yeah. But it comes across to the layman, just like regular citizens, as like highly unpredictable. And so
how could it be?
Yeah.
What is the psychology that could explain?
Exactly. And so like that's you know, even though Jigsaw always starts with a tape about why the people are in there, they are often like, why are you doing this to me? Let me go. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
he's
the
always like,
motive is...
Hello, Mr. Zeppindle.
Yeah. Make your choice. Live or die.
Or die.
And then, so that's what's really interesting about torture porn movies is that, like, the face of evil in these films is just a dude.
It's just a dude who thinks he can play God.
Yeah, it's just a man.
Who's just like, yeah,
And
I
then,
torture because I want to.
We literally even see this in Saw when Larry's daughter is in bed and she says there's a monster in her closet, and she's right. And the monster is just a dude.
It's just a dude.
It's just Michael Emerson.
It's my beloved Michael Emerson.
Yeah.
Who will never hurt anybody.
So, like, that's who becomes the quote unquote monster.
Is
right?
the guy. We no longer have
just a guy.
The monstrous slasher killer.
Yes.
Who's like somehow supernatural. Our enemies now are just men.
It's just a guy.
Which is always scarier.
Way more terrifying. Absolutely. Because, there is this, like, the psychology aspect of, like, why are they doing this? What is their motivation?
Who could do this?
Kerner also points out that there are certain torture porn elements that, like, are common in other horror subgenres, but they're, like, a little bit different. So, like, torture porn tends to represent, like, problematic patriarchal and paternal figures. Even more significantly than a lot of other, which is there, we see it in horror movies, but, like, they kind of get spelled out a little bit more into, like,
it's more of a theme.
Yeah, like in Hostel, there is literally, like, the stuff that conspiracy theories are made of. Like, there is literally a worldwide cabal that is, like, putting together, like, kidnapping people and putting them on the dark web to buy so that you can torture them to death, you know, if for the right price, kind of thing. Yeah. So,
and of course, Jigsaw, as you have said, is a bad dad.
Yeah.
And goes after bad dads.
He's a sad dad.
He's a sad dad who goes after bad dads.
Yeah. And then what's also really interesting about torture porn in relation to regular old slashers is that the gender of the tortured body, like, does not matter.
Yes.
Men will get tortured as horrifically and as up close and personal as the female characters
Which, I mean,
do.
you know, that's progress, man.
That's gender equality is what that is.
I mean, this movie does stand out for having, like, the one person who survives this trap being also the only woman who's put in a trap. Like, Amanda is special.
Yeah, she
and
is.
also a woman.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, in, like, a traditional slasher, the violence is much more perpetrated against women.
Yeah.
Much more specifically, which we have talked at length about,
God,
right?
Yes.
And the female characters in slasher movies usually represent, like, resolution. There's, like, a final girl.
Yes.
But there's no final girls in torture porn. And that's the other thing about torture porn is that, like, it is never actually resolved.
Yes,
no one
this movie is very unresolved.
Yeah. And the same with Hostel. Like, there is no happy ending.
And it sounds like even with the 10 movies that fucking followed this first Saw, that it just goes back and forth and just makes it more unresolved.
Absolutely. Yes. Just adds more into what is actually meant to only be, like, the end of this franchise, like, chronologically, is Saw 3.
Fucking insane.
That's where it ends.
That's fucking insane.
Everything
that's soap
else
opera
just
bullshit.
goes back and forth.
That's not a horror movie. That's a soap opera. I mean,
yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
This is also the era of Lost, let's not forget. So, like, the weird flashbacks and flash forwards. Right. Let's do it.
This movie, just like everything, is absolutely, like, a product of its time.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So just one other thing I want to say about torture porn is that, like, basically, in my personal opinion, torture porn does not start with Saw in 2004.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you could make the case Cannibal Holocaust from 1980 is a torture porn film because it does the thing that we just said, a subgenre of horror that focuses in extensive graphic detail on the infliction of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And then it also makes me think of, again, that kind of slate of remakes that come out of the early aughts. We also get a remake of House of Wax, which is interesting because its name is taken from the 1954 film House of Wax, but the movie is actually a remake of Tourist Trap.
Oh.
Which is another 80s slasher. Like, the plot is Tourist Trap.
Is House of Wax
Paris Hilton.
I was going to say, is that the one with Paris Hilton?
With Paris
Talk
Hilton.
about being of its time.
Absolutely.
So many people watch that movie just because they want to watch Paris Hilton die.
That's why I watched it.
Just for being a lady.
Just for existing. I
Just
know.
for
We
existing
all owe her a really big apology.
I mean,
which I actually did because these are movies I've been watching for my 31 for 31.
Oh, yeah.
Check us out on the podcast. On the Instagram. I'm posting them to the story. But I watched The House of Wax from 1954, which is a sequel, or rather remake, to a movie from the 30s called Mystery at the Wax Museum.
Oh, I love that.
Which I haven't seen. It's only an hour and 15 minutes.
Love it.
Probably.
It sounds like a romp.
Probably will watch it by the end of this month for sure.
It sounds like a romp.
And then watch House of Wax, watch Tourist Trap, watch the remake from 2005. And the remake from 2005 really does go into the torture porn elements a little bit more. Jared Padalecki is in that movie. He is just out of Gilmore Girls and
that's the other thing I was thinking about.
To start Supernatural.
In terms of the being of its era.
Yes.
Thinking about like what stage we were in terms of queer baiting. And I'm like, oh, we weren't even in Supernatural queer baiting. We were in House MD levels of queer baiting.
Yes. Right.
Which feels very Adam and Lawrence. I'm just saying.
Very.
It's that era of queer.
But it's actually Jared Padalecki, his character, who gets got first.
Oh, hey.
And he they really do focus on some body horror stuff, happens to his body, and then he gets put out in the wax museum, and one of his friends tries to even save him and get the wax off of him, but his skin just falls off. That's torture porn. That's torture porn to me.
That's gross.
So it's just interesting, the way that this is the way horror movies have always been going. Mm-hmm. And then we're just responding to the things that happen historically. And then the same is true. We also get a huge boom in horror movies in 2009, 2010 after the financial crisis.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of the way our media is responding to what is happening in our society and kind of vice versa.
Yeah. And it just always will.
And it is always like this. And so it's because of September 11th. Moral of the story. Yeah.
Yeah. What I wanted to talk about in terms of what you were just saying a little while ago.
Yeah.
About the sort of just some guyness of it.
Yeah.
I want to see if my understanding of why Jigsaw chooses his victims is correct. If I can just go through his main victims in this film one more time.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got Paul.
Yes.
I feel like I was about to sing. What's that fucking song? The Piano Man.
Okay.
But I'm not going to sing The Piano Man. Okay. No, Paul is not a real estate agent. He tried to kill himself or just cut his wrists.
Yes.
We don't even know if he tried to kill himself. He just cut his wrists.
Yeah.
And therefore he needs to be in a barbed wire trap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jigsaw does not support mental health struggles.
No, his moral compass is not very trauma informed.
No. So he's got that one.
He often traps people with substance use disorders.
Well, okay, that's where I was going to say. Amanda, who also got, I feel like, the worst awakening. Horrible.
Yeah.
To wake up in that situation. Yeah. And then she also has to see the scary puppet.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But hers is also interesting because it's also the first one we see where she doesn't have to harm herself. She has to harm somebody else.
Right. Who she has been told is dead.
Yes.
Even though it's pretty obvious that he wasn't dead.
So she's sort of in a position more like Lawrence. Yeah. Which does lead me to ask, well, how does he decide which people are the people that he tortures and which people are the people that he wants to make murderers? And it's is it he sees potential in these people to be his accomplices? So it's more of a tryout situation. But I don't know. But it means that dude, the drug dealer, whatever, and Adam also just have real spare guy energy.
Yeah, very.
Okay, and then there was, I want to say Mark, who was faking being sick. He pretended to be sick. And then Jigsaw says, the people you've burned with your act, which I feel like is a bit of a stretch for a poetic metaphor for his death.
That's a bit much.
I'm Jigsaw, you could have done better with that one.
Yeah.
Also, was this one of those scammers who's I have cancer and give me money? Or was it just he was on workers' comp or something? Or he didn't look disabled but is disabled because disabilities can be invisible, Jigsaw?
Yeah.
How do you know that he's not sick, I guess is my question.
Basically. Yeah.
And then Lawrence is there just because he happened to be the doctor who diagnosed Jigsaw, or did he even diagnose him?
Or just in some way care for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's he gets so mad about that he not only puts him in a trap eventually, but also before that tries to frame him as the murderer.
Right.
I'm like, that's just kind of how healthcare works, dude. You were in a hospital. People work there. I don't know what you wanted to happen differently. Are you mad because Lawrence couldn't save your life even though he's a doctor? Because sometimes that's what happens, dude. Like, that just, sometimes all you can do is make people comfortable before they die. I don't know. I guess he's mad at Larry because, like, he's sort of, like, not very caring to his patients. You know, he's like, oh, I'm just going to use this as a teaching opportunity.
Have very good bedside
He's
manner.
not like Zepp, who's like, actually, this man is very interesting.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm like, but he's not, like, getting away with malpractice or something. Like, it literally is just that, like, and you're a bad husband.
Yeah, basically.
Which kind of felt like a little bit of the thing he was going after Paul for, too. Like, how dare you cut your wrists when you're, like, a middle-class husband. How dare you be unhappy when you have a good job and a wife?
Yeah, so, yeah, again, not super trauma-informed.
I'm just...
And again, it's worth remembering he has a frontal lobe tumor.
Because then with Adam... he does have that spare guy energy.
Yes.
And, like, what is the actual motive for him? He makes up something about, like, how dare you watch other people's lives and not live your own life?
Yeah.
I'm like, really, Jigsaw?
But
what are you doing with your life?
That's his job.
And, like, at least Adam gets paid for it, or is that the problem? You don't like that Adam gets paid for it. And you don't. I don't know. But I also saw this point about this one piece that I read when I was actually looking into torture porn by Christopher Sherritt. The Problem of Saw, Torture Porn, and the Conservatism of Contemporary Horror Films.
Yes.
The author describes, like, he started talking about the visual environment of Saw as having, quote, become the norm in various films, suggesting capitalist culture as a fallen world at the end of its road. Sort of what we were talking about with how it's all sort of like industrial, but like decayed industrial, like old industrial. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's gray.
It's the danger of cities.
And that the capitalist culture is at the end of its road because, quote, for vaguely moral rather than political and economic reasons, Jigsaw's workspace is festooned with the debris of a collapsed industrial society, his clustered layers simulating Dadaist installations, therefore incorporating adversarial culture into narratives more fascinated with wallowing in decay than raising questions as to the whys of its presence. I found that interesting in terms of what Jigsaw is doing. He's very individualistic. He's very Darwinian. Mm-hmm. And is not thinking about the larger structural issues.
Yes.
Like, why does he target Adam, who is working because he needs money to live so that he doesn't starve? Like, he's clearly kind of, like, doesn't have money. His apartment is kind of a shithole, as he says. Like, there's no moral failing there, and Adam just trying to survive. I feel like Jigsaw would technically agree with that, but he doesn't, because Jigsaw is kind of bullshit everything he says, and what he really cares about is making people suffer for what he thinks of as sins.
Yeah. He's trying to get them to appreciate life, but it is his
version of life, which seems to be...
or his version of appreciation.
But it seems to only be like middle-class nuclear families, which is what you need to appreciate life, because the people who don't have that, like, are kind of set up to fail. Yeah. Like, this guy should be happy and should not be trying to kill himself because he has this middle-class family.
Yeah.
And Lawrence should be appreciating his good job and his nuclear family. And, like, he's not even mad at Lawrence for any other reasons. He's mad at him for that. And, like, yeah, and not even to get into the people he targets because of their addiction.
Right.
It's like his morals are so fucking conservative. I hate this man so much. But he's literally just another old white guy who's like, I know better than everyone else.
But can I tell
so fucking
something that we don't get in this film but is part of the canon is that Jigsaw also loves to put white supremacists in traps as well.
Okay.
I don't know. He hates racists. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
He hates dirty cops too. Is that true?
Yeah, he's also kind of has issues with dirty cops. Yeah. Even though technically he ends up with dirty cops kind of working for him.
Well, and it's also my understanding that before, well, you're going to get into the lore.
Yeah.
But he used to help out with, like, making low income housing.
Yeah.
And, like,
so
dealing, helping people who are dealing with, like, drug addiction and stuff, and like,
so why don't I
I just don't like this man.
Let's save Jigsaw. Let's talk about everybody else and end with Jigsaw.
Okay.
So basically, these are what I've written down are the franchise facts that we need to know to understand the canon events that occur in Saw, in this movie. So yeah, we see Amanda Young. That's her first and last name.
Yeah.
Amanda Young. She survives that trap, and through surviving that trap is somehow sold and becomes a devotee of Jigsaw and his plan to put people through tests who don't appreciate their life enough or something. And she's like integral to him like setting up his traps.
Yeah. One of her few lines in this movie is her saying, "He helped me."
Yep. Yeah. So she's a character in 5 of the 10 films.
Yes.
Although in most of those films, she's basically... she's an active character in 5 of the 10 films and then appears in archival footage in 3 more.
Okay.
But again, she dies technically at the end of Saw 3. She is canonically dead.
Yeah.
And she's only ever been played by the actress Shawnee Smith, by the way. She's the main character in Saw 2. She's like a member of a group in the main plot line, which again includes Donnie Wahlberg's character is a detective, and his son, Daniel, is in the trap. And they all have something in common, the people who are there, which is they're all criminals, but they have all been falsely accused and set up by Donnie Wahlberg's character. And then his son, Daniel, is in there with them. So that's what they all have in common. And she is kind of like you were talking about.
So Jigsaw is torturing people who got set up for crimes they didn't commit? And he thinks he's the moral person in this situation?
The idea is that he's never expecting anyone in the second one. He, again, it's like he tells them the rules and then they just aren't really listening. So it says like, don't open this door. And they're like, fuck you, I'm going to open this door. And then they get shot in the face kind of thing, you know.
Well, then don't put a door there with a gun.
Anyway, so...
If you're not wanting these people to die, then don't put them in a fucking trap.
The idea is that what he wants them to do is to work together, to find out what they all have in common and to work together to get out of the room, because they all have a piece of knowledge that if they just worked together, they would be, and communicated, they would be able to figure it out.
And the guns are important for this progress because why?
Because they might not follow the rules. And if they don't follow the rules...
Could he not have just given them little bits of information on cards that were like, hey, you all got framed by the same guy. Discuss. And then let them go on their ways?
No. So what happens is there's a clue. Eventually they make it through. And it's like all supposed to be like a house. Like this weird, like kind of dilapidated house that they're stuck in, that, you know, all the windows are boarded up or whatever the fuck, you know. So, and then they find a picture that Jigsaw has left there of Donnie Wahlberg's character and his son to be like... This is his son, the little kid, like the teenager that's like in this group is the son of the cop that put you guys away, that set you up, kind of thing. But it's just like another that we kind of see in this film.
So Jigsaw thinks that the son should be responsible for the sins of his father.
So Daniel doesn't get hurt at all. He's the trap to get Donnie Wahlberg's character. And then Donnie Wahlberg comes across what ends up happening to Adam. And then in Saw 2, he's in the weird abandoned industrial thing.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that is.
And he comes across that bathroom that we see in the first movie, and there is Adam's like rotting corpse there.
Aw,
yeah,
baby.
yeah, I know. So he doesn't make it.
My baby.
But Amanda, but what you were saying is that Amanda, she kind of is that, like, you know, what you were saying is like one of them is damned.
Yeah.
And one of them is already saved. Like Amanda is kind of in that group as like the one who's technically safe. Yeah, she's saved.
She's
like,
preordained.
She knows how to do it because she helped set it up, you know, and she's trying to get these people to do, you know, to play the game, and they're not doing it.
Well, yeah, because it's stupid.
Yeah, and then also, like, he doesn't really give very explicit instruction on his game. He gives, like, cryptid clues, and then when they mess up, he's like, oh, wow, I told you.
I guess you don't want to live.
Yep, basically.
I guess that just is the only evidence we have of your will to live.
One other
thing. Is your inability to understand my clues.
We get Lawrence Gordon, he directly appears in 2 movies. He's in the original, and then he shows up in Saw: The Final Chapter, which one would believe is the last one,
but it's not.
It's not. It's the 7th of 10, and I think there will be an 11th one. And his character is canonically still alive. He's him and Allison and Diana, his wife and daughter.
Still married?
They're alive.
Are they married though?
I mean, canonically, yes. I don't know.
Wow.
There's no mention of it.
She stuck with that man.
Yep. Adam Stanheight is his last name, by the way. He appears or is mentioned in 6 of the films. He's always played by Lee Wanell, who wrote the screenplay for the first 3 movies.
Oh, okay.
And has executive producer credit on all 10.
Okay, so he does stay involved.
He's
more than James Wan did.
Yeah. And Adam is canonically dead. He dies somewhere between the events of Saw and Saw 2.
Yes.
Though we don't actually see it depicted until Saw 3.
It's my understanding from what I read that Amanda kind of mercy kills him so that he doesn't just stay there and dehydrate.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he doesn't like starve to death. Yeah,
she like kills him. But it's also my understanding that she is the one who put the key in a position where it would be likely to fall down the drain and thus set him up to fail.
Yeah.
So thanks, Amanda.
Then there's David Trapp. He's the detective who is played by Danny Glover,
who also dies in this film.
Yes, he gets his throat cut by Jigsaw, but that's a fake out.
And then Zepp kills him.
And he's actually used in flashbacks for retconning in 3 and 5.
Oh, wow. 3 and 5.
Yep.
Get that paycheck, Danny.
Yeah, 100%. And then we have Steve Singh. He's the other detective.
Yeah.
He gets killed in a jigsaw trap because duh. And same thing. He's also, he's played by Ken Leung. Mm-hmm. And he's in the first movie, and they use him in some flashbacks for 3 and 5.
Wow.
And then there's Allison Carey. This is the last character other than Jigsaw who's in the first film and has like other canonical importance. Yeah. Her name's Allison Carey, Detective Allison Carey.
Oh, yes.
She's the detective who plays like a major role in basically the first 5 films.
Okay.
She's played by Dinah Meyer. And again, she dies.
She was giving major Law and Order, and I really appreciated it.
Very, yeah. She does die in Saw 3 in a trap set up by Amanda that was indeed rigged.
Oh.
So this is something that Amanda gets in a little bit of trouble with Jigsaw, because Jigsaw says that Amanda is murdering these people because they do not actually have a way to get out of their trap.
Right, yeah.
She, because she actually does the thing. She is put in a trap where she needs to get a key out of like a tub of acid before it dissolves, or this trap is going to rip her rib cage open.
Yeah.
And she does the thing. She gets she gets acid all over her hands, but she gets the key and it like won't unlock the lock. So yeah. So she is really trapped. And so that's Jigsaw does kind of like get angry with Amanda for this, that like she really is just kind of like trapping people. And then we kind of get into like, okay, well, does this sort of Jigsaw method even work?
Well, what I'm more interested in is sort of like what the movie wants us to think about Jigsaw, because I literally couldn't tell if they wanted us in like some dark part of ourselves to kind of believe that Jigsaw has a point.
Yeah.
To, like, even if like, oh, well, his methods are too sadistic.
That he has some sort of moral high ground or something. Yeah.
Or are we supposed to think that he's just a fucking hypocrite and an idiot?
Yeah.
Which is what I think. Like, because his belief is that suffering somehow redeems people and like makes them change their bad habits or something. But it seems more often than not, suffering just kills them.
Right.
Like the one person who we have who does survive, Amanda, turns out to then work for him and become a murderer. So it does not seem that she is redeemed.
Yeah, and she does, it's interesting that she does not like fall into her, habits, like she stays off of drugs.
Yeah.
But in the second one and the third ones, like she does make reference to like self-harming.
Oh.
So it's kind of sort of like she's not redeemed. She's not better.
Right. If that's what Jigsaw thing is happening. Yeah. That he's some sort of therapist. And like, and what bothers me is that we're not given any sort of like alternate viewpoint from like the cops or from any of his victims even. Like we don't see any of his victims who have survived, maybe in later films, who are like, actually what he did was fucking stupid and sucked. And I don't feel like a better person. We only have Amanda being like, I'm so grateful for him. He saved me so much, you know, which is I don't know. It just sort of started to bother me as I was reading people's opinions, like people, like fans.
Yeah.
About this film is like how many people think that Jigsaw is like so interesting and so clever.
Yeah.
And like talking about how like he has his moral code and he's a genius and he follows his own rules. And like even agree with Lawrence about how like, well, he's not technically a murderer.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just like, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Like if 9 out of every 10 people die in your fucking trap, then you're a murderer. I don't know what else to say. Like, and like, how does he choose? Like we said, with the unconscious guy in Amanda's trap, like he didn't have a chance to try to survive. That was straight up murder.
Yeah.
Just because he had Amanda do the murder doesn't mean it wasn't murder.
Right.
Like, plus he does not follow his own rules.
Right. Well,
Lawrence fails his trap. He does not kill Adam. Adam succeeds. He survives. And yet, who fucking lives and who fucking dies? What is the fucking point, Mr. Jigsaw? Like, who does he think he's actually rehabilitating if the few people who actually do survive anyway end up to be his fucking acolytes? Like, they're either fucking miserable because they went through a fucking trauma,
right,
or they're fucking sadistic murderers. Like, how is that clever? How's that fair? You're a fucking hypocrite. I don't know what to say.
They're kind of just like part of the cult.
Yes.
It's more like a cult of personality. And it's really hard to pin down because it's consistently changing. So let's talk a little.
Because it's just a cult.
Let me tell you a little bit about the retconning here. Okay. So in Saw 2, what we learn from Jigsaw is that once he gets his cancer diagnosis, he does try to die by suicide by driving off a cliff. He survives.
And so now he's mad at other people who try to kill themselves.
No. Let me finish. No. He survives, and what he says is that he was like he was angry, but also kind of amazed that his body couldn't fight off cancer, but could survive plunging off of a cliff.
Okay.
And so he says that surviving that situation is what inspires him to start his work, quote unquote, whatever his work is according to him. Because he always refers to it as his work.
Buddy, you're not getting paid.
Then, no, he's not getting paid. In the third one, because he's getting help from Amanda, because in the third one is when he is dying, you know. And so they basically kidnap a doctor to treat him. And it's sort of like that's the A plot. And then the B plot is this other guy See, this is the other thing. He is just setting these people up to die. Because this other guy who ends up being that lady's husband, and they've lost a child, so they're going through a trauma. They've fallen out of love. They don't know how to talk to each other anymore.
They're no longer in their nuclear heteronormative family, so Jigsaw must kill them.
Yeah, their son is killed in a drunk driving accident. And so basically, over the course of, as this guy is going through his quote-unquote test, he meets these, people who quote-unquote didn't do anything. Like the person who didn't call it in, or the person who let the guy out of jail the first time so that he could be a drunk driver and kill his son. What Jigsaw is doing is he's giving this guy the opportunity, quote unquote, to forgive and to move on and to move on with life and to not be stuck in the past. But he does not make those choices.
Yeah.
He either through his inaction or direct action, those people die. Yeah. So
and they are not in positions to save themselves.
They are not in positions to save themselves.
They are not getting a chance to redeem themselves.
And then of course,
and it's how does he choose? Who was worthy of the test? Who was not worthy of the test? It's fucking arbitrary.
It's just whoever happens to be living in Saw City.
It's just fucking arbitrary.
So
I think it's the people he sees himself in.
Maybe.
I mean, a guy who lost his son. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that becomes later retconning that we're introduced to his wife.
Yes.
In the fourth one.
Soap opera,
yeah. And she is pregnant and they are both incredibly excited. They've already named the kid. Jigsaw is already making billy puppets for the baby.
Those are terrifying.
They
Why
are
would
terrifying,
you do that?
but he's very excited. And
his wife has nothing to say about them?
So his wife is a doctor and she works at sort of an emergency clinic or sort of a rehabilitation clinic. And through a mishap with a patient, she has an accident and it causes her to lose the baby. Mm-hmm. And so that also becomes Jigsaw's sort of like
other origin story.
I have lost faith in humanity.
Yes.
It is my job to put people to tests to see how much they actually are willing to continue to live.
That was something I thought about with why he chose Zepp.
Yes.
Is because he seems to be like, I'm this, I'm just an orderly, but I care more about the patients than the actual doctors do.
Right.
But then it's like, well, if you really care more about them, then will you let yourself die so that this mother and child can live? Or do you actually not care about other people?
Yeah.
It's sort of like testing what people say they believe in and being like, do you really? Or are you inherently evil like every other human in the world?
Basically.
Because that's what Jigsaw thinks.
Yeah. Like I was saying before, like his moral compass is apparently very strong, but it is not.
No.
It's not trauma informed.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's not consistent at all.
Yeah. Like, again, he traps a lot of people who just like have a history of substance use disorders.
Yes.
And like any crime or sort of what he sees as immoral behavior.
Yes.
He gets to decide,
Which is
what's
being
immoral behavior.
Poor.
Basically.
Yeah.
That they
I bet he
only
fucking-
are engaging in those kinds of things like to fulfill their addiction.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he puts people's into games like without, like they didn't consent to play these games.
Yeah, they don't want to be tested.
Yeah. But it gets better. So
I don't think it does.
then in Saw X,
No.
which is supposed to take place. Yeah, Amanda's in it. So it's after the events of Saw 1. This is the another thing that I actually really love about this franchise is that Jigsaw does also often go after sort of like, just like the worst parts of American society after September 11th, including like healthcare companies. That's what Saw 6 is all about. It's all about the healthcare company that like refused to treat his cancer.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually kind of cool.
The other thing, though, is that his choices are always very fucking personal. He's not like, I'm going to change the world for the better. He's like, I'm going to get revenge.
You're the guy.
And pretend that I'm changing the world for the better.
Yeah, you're the guy who made my wife lose her baby.
So I'm going to go after you.
Yeah.
And wasn't Amanda like involved in that also somehow?
She's tangentially related. Yeah.
And that's how she gets targeted.
Yeah.
And like I said, Lawrence is just like his doctor.
Yep.
But not even one of the doctors who was like responsible for anything that was really bad.
Yep.
Like he didn't like misdiagnose him or like fail to treat him or anything. He was just a doctor.
Yeah.
It's also fucking personal.
But then here's what happens in Saw 10, aka Saw X.
Yes.
Because they always go with the Roman numerals, which I like, by the way.
Love it.
Jigsaw, John Kramer, goes to, he's been tricked by basically a wellness scammer that because he basically does want to live.
Yeah.
He's got this like,
He's got the will to survive.
He's got the will to survive even
he is
though
not missing a puzzle piece.
the cancer is taking over and is slowly but surely killing him. He does not want that. And so, yeah, he does get really angry when doctors are like,
no,
you've got months, probably less. Let's get you comfy,
so that's why he doesn't like Dr. Lawrence.
Yeah, he was just like, I just get comfy.
This is inoperable.
Yes.
This is done.
And then he gets mad. He's like, so I should just be comfortable dying?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But,
well, maybe you at least shouldn't then start killing other people.
And then he gets scammed by a doctor who claims that her father came up with a drug cocktail and specific surgery to cure pretty much any disease, including
if they had,
cancer.
then that would be known.
Right. Well, and it's so funny because the doctor is like always talking about, it's like, oh, well, Big Pharma doesn't want us to know. Don't want anybody to know about this.
Okay. So Jigsaw's just also just a fucking dupe.
Well, he's desperate. And it's just kind of interesting that he cannot extend his understanding of desperation
Yes.
to these other people.
Yes.
But he gets duped, basically. And of course, it costs him a ton of money, right?
Yeah.
But he believes he's been cured. He had to travel to Mexico. The treatment wasn't even
was
available in the
Of
United
course.
States. And then that's basically the movie, is he's going after all of the people who were part of the setup.
Yeah.
And of course, they do say like, oh, but it was her. It was Dr. Cecilia Peterson. It was her, and like they all go up against their, and what's really interesting is they all go up against their quote unquote tests, but they're together. And the doctor, Cecilia Peterson, is like trying to help them. She's like the woman who needs to cut off her own leg. It's just like, use the tourniquet, like tie it nice and tight, do it like this, like do it quick. But like they are, and I think what happens a lot in this movie when somebody is met in this trap, which is a trap, which is of course, you know, awful. They're just like, no, I can't do it, you know? And it's just like, but you have no choice. Like, you're either going to do it or you're going to die. And what usually happens is they resist, and then realize, oh crap, this is real. And they start to do it and enact a lot of damage on themselves and end up dying anyway.
Yeah.
That's like that's an amazing way to explain where this franchise goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get to have our cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
We're going to watch them do the horrible thing and they'll die anyway.
So in a way, Jigsaw is kind of the psycho killer, you know? And like the whole point is that his background is in civil engineering and architecture. So somehow that is what has given him the skill set to create these incredibly elaborate traps.
Right, yeah.
And some of them are incredibly elaborate.
And it's my understanding that part of the retconning of having Dr. Gordon still alive and become an acolyte is to explain some of the more surgical traps.
Yes, yeah.
You're like, well, he had a surgeon.
Yes. And that's the other thing is that he also, some other retconning is in the fourth one, they completely invent a new character, Detective Hoffman.
Oh, yes. I saw that name come up a lot. Yes. And I was like, soap opera shit.
It's very soap opera.
He hates the wife. Okay.
This is the actual legitimate definition of retconning is in the fourth one. They actually do introduce Detective Hoffman in the third one, but he's a very non-entity. And then they literally retcon him in the fourth one where they show us like recreated scenes from the first three where we're seeing like Jigsaw and Amanda talking and then the camera like pans.
Like, he was there all
he was there the whole time.
He was just off camera. You couldn't see him. Yeah, he was there.
But he's been there the whole time.
He was always there. He's just really quiet, you guys.
Yeah, and like, oh, that trap, you know, that trap, like, oh, Hoffman set up that trap.
Hoffman did that one. Yeah. Obviously. It had Hoffman written all over it.
Yeah. So it's so ridiculous. And then Hoffman, and what's unfortunate is that I'm sorry, I don't know that actor's name off the top of my head. I've never seen him in anything else. And it's not his fault. I'm not going to blame him, but like that character really does not have a lot going for it. So like his lines are just like very flat. Like there's just really not a lot there. Yeah. But like we're just supposed to believe that he is the
successor to...
He's number two. Like we're supposed to believe that. Yeah. The guy that
the right-hand man.
We didn't see until after John Kramer is canonically dead.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's this guy.
Instead of like Amanda, who at least we have a relationship with.
Right. Well, because
she's canonically dead.
She also does canonically die in the third one. So we're going to
bring back
because
Jigsaw's wife that we've never heard of, and then
Jill Saw. Yeah, her name is Jill. Yeah. So all this retconning of adding in different characters and messing with time, and like having one like the B plot of the movie happening during the A plot, only to find out that the B plot actually happened months ago. It was all pre-recorded. Like all so much of it. It's a lot of this series.
I'm not interested. So I quite enjoyed this first film, but everything I read about the following films, I'm just like,
I'm good.
I'm okay.
Oh, also, sorry, I forgot to mention something else. When in the third one, Jigsaw refers to Amanda as he's working with the doctor who her life's on the line to save him. He says about Amanda, her emotion is her weakness.
Oh?
Yeah. And I'm like, everything you do is because you're sad.
Yeah. John. And also, you're mad at people when they're apathetic.
Yes.
And they don't have passion in their lives.
So what do you want?
So that's what I'm saying. He's a fucking hypocrite.
Well, and
he does not have a code.
Yeah, and
rules.
But really, what he is like you've already kind of mentioned. He is like an Old Testament God.
Yeah, he just is. He's just playing God.
He's pretty vengeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Takes things personal.
Decides in the moment what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And then later says, well, there was a reason for it.
Yes.
And it wasn't my emotions.
Yes.
It was my logic.
Yes. And cunning and desire to help people get the most out of their lives, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I still don't like this man.
Well, I guess really to me, like, the point is that he has a brain tumor. So we can literally blame all of this absolutely insane behavior on his brain tumor, but we cannot blame his followers. People still chose to follow him.
And we cannot blame the way that he is portrayed in the movies as being the one who is logical or whatever, without having other people to be like, no, actually, you're just fucking sadistic and hypocritical and fucking crazy. And so we have all these fans.
You're kind of like a wannabe cult leader.
Yeah, and so we have all these fans, like in the real world fans, who are like, Jigsaw's so cool and clever and stuff. And it's like, he's not!
Yeah. Well, and also because, are you talking about in the real world or in the Saw world?
In the real world. I don't know about in the Saw world.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about Saw City's fans.
There actually is, and I don't remember which one, but in one of the Saw movies, there is like a Jigsaw survivor support group.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them do express like, I'm actually really thankful. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, so
I just don't buy
this world is just like a weird world.
Yeah.
Like, cities are decaying and full of like immorality and crime.
And only Jigsaw can stand against it.
And only crooked cops.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's Jigsaw's job to, at the like microscopic level, go person by person. To either die or redeem themselves.
But probably die.
And
redemption is in the form of becoming another serial killer.
Yes.
And creating more crime and trauma that people will then try to kill themselves over or whatever. And Jigsaw will get mad about it.
Yeah. But he has a tumor. So that is why he is capital L, capital T like that.
Can I have my rant now about why the fuck Adam dies?
Adam had to die if he technically won the game.
Yes.
Have it.
Because I mean, this is what I'm saying about why I do not like this man. I feel like maybe if he did target Adam for any reason, I feel like it's probably because he was worried that Adam caught something on his camera. He was in that parking garage when they snagged Dr. Lawrence.
That's true.
Dr. Gordon, and he took a picture of Dr. Gordon in that moment. Like, what if he got something on camera? He apparently got Zepp on camera. I don't know when he had the chance to do that, but one of his pictures had Zepp in it, which is why they were like, Zepp is the Jigsaw killer. So, like, because, like, he doesn't seem to really fit the usual MO. Like, he's not being particularly, like, reckless in his behavior. He's a smoker, I guess.
Whatever.
He does make that somewhat inappropriate comment about, like, sweet, sweet cancer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dude, there's a man with cancer right there next to you.
Yeah, right.
You don't know that? Because the man, you think he's dead, but still.
He's got terminal brain cancer.
Man. Yeah.
Yep.
And also, like, Jigsaw doesn't have anything personal against him, like he does against a lot of other victims. So it's like, and then he wins his game, but he still needs to die. And so I feel like at that point, because Adam has fully seen Jigsaw's face at that point.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't get anything on camera, like, he knows that, like, oh, yeah, I can describe what Jigsaw looks like. He's a white, older man.
Yeah.
So, he has to die. But I just feel like that really lessens Jigsaw in his whole, like, I have a code and I'm consistent. I play fair. Like, that just wasn't fair.
Yeah.
And I also wonder how much it's because Jigsaw doesn't have any sympathy for the poorer classes. Like, I think there's an extent to which he sees himself in some of the victims he chooses. Because otherwise he wouldn't see them as possibly redeemable. Like, he focuses on these, like, middle-class family men who don't appreciate what they have. Which is, like, probably a description that could have described himself at one point.
Yeah.
But, like, Adam is poor, and he's, like, a crook, according to Jigsaw, because he prioritizes money over, I don't know, morals or something. So, like, his fate is sealed from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, like, he kind of I feel like Jigsaw sees the entirety of the lower classes as, like, probably irredeemable. Because they've already proven themselves incapable of Darwinian survival by not succeeding at capitalism.
Yeah.
Basically. So really the only function they can serve is as props in other people's tests. Like, they aren't people of themselves. They're props. They're tools in the test. Like, Amanda is a rare exception, and I'm not sure why she's the exception.
Yeah.
But, like, her cellmate isn't.
Yeah.
And we also learned that Amanda was targeted for a personal reason. So that could be why she's an exception. And also that, like, she's our only woman, which is cool that she's the survivor, but also that she's the one who's grateful to Jigsaw, which feels very much like women and poor people and drug addicts should be, like, thankful for, like, the degradation they have to endure just to get, like, scraps from people in power.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up. And I also think there's something to be said for like Dr. Gordon and Jigsaw sort of being foils for each other as like these family men and like sad dads, you know, and also as Adam and Lawrence as foils as like the order and the chaos and like completing each other. But the idea of Adam and Jigsaw being foils for each other too is kind of interesting because like his reason, what he says his reason for getting on Adam is like the whole stalking people and taking their pictures, invading their privacy. And it's like, Jigsaw, what do you do?
Yeah.
What is your fucking work?
What are you doing?
Like, and also Adam ends up winning Jigsaw's game by not buying into that like individualistic survival of the fittest ideology. He wins by being like, I'm going to create a bond with this person and this person's not going to kill me. And like, he's not somebody unlike Jigsaw, like as in foil sense, he's like not somebody who's like he's, like I said, I think he's very empathetic towards people, unlike Jigsaw. And he's not somebody who's like prone to violence, unlike Jigsaw. The one time he engages in violence, it's really kind of to protect Dr. Gordon.
When he beats Zep with the
which, I mean, he goes a little wild on it. I'm not going to lie. But it really is sort of like this protective move. I don't know. I just feel like Adam kind of believes that people should deserve to live if they say they want to live. And that should be enough. You know? So he's like kind of the opposite of everything Jigsaw says. But at the same time, he does everything that Jigsaw says he wants Adam to do. He kills somebody. He wasn't even asked to kill somebody, but Adam fully kills somebody.
It's true.
He survives. He survives pain even. Like, he gets a gunshot wound.
That's true.
And he lives through that. And, like, he solves his silly little puzzles. And he fucking says he wants to live. He, like, fully wants to live.
Yeah.
And still he dies kind of just because Jigsaw straight up doesn't like him.
Yeah.
It's like there's no real other good reason for it. And I'm like, how much of that is, like, self-hatred of the self through the other? Like, how much is all of Jigsaw's traps really just him torturing himself and like hating on himself kind of in the people that he chooses? And it's like, how much is it also then maybe seeing on the flip side, seeing certain types of people, like poor people, empathetic people, emotional people, as like not as just unworthy of life no matter what they do, no matter what tests he can do? And how much does Lawrence only survive because he is a wealthy doctor who can help Jigsaw with his later schemes?
Right.
Like, is Jigsaw target Gordon just because he needs a fucking doctor on his team? Seems like maybe.
Maybe.
Because he keeps him around even though he fucking fails his test. Like, Lawrence fucking fails. He does not kill another person even to save his own family.
Yeah.
He does saw his own foot off, so I guess that's great.
Okay. But he is also, again, canonically still alive, and so is his family.
Yeah.
So
though he
the
doesn't
consequence was not.
No, yeah, it was not followed through.
Yeah.
He saws off his foot. It does nothing because his family has already saved themselves. And also when Zep shows up, he's like not in position to fight Zep. So Adam has to save him. Like, Adam saves him.
Yep.
So basically, by Jigsaw's standards, stated standards, Lawrence is a fucking failure. He fucking failed. But he's allowed to live, whereas Adam, who succeeded, is needed to die, just according to Jigsaw's whims. And it's like hypocritical, but also very capitalistic. Because Lawrence was given all of these advantages, like we already talked about.
Yeah, he gets a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still failed.
Yeah.
And yet he still gets the quote unquote job.
Yeah.
Whereas Adam was set up to fail from the beginning, manages to succeed, and his accomplishments don't mean shit. They just don't mean fucking shit.
Yep, he just dies in a dirty bathroom.
Yeah, he just never gets out of the shithole.
Yeah.
His shithole apartment to the shithole bathroom.
Yep.
And the only thing that I love for Adam is that I do feel like he does win in one small way, which is that, for me, he shows how fucking wrong and hypocritical Jigsaw is. Like, he is our counter argument to Jigsaw's whole shit. And, like, he kind of haunts the narrative, which we love. We love somebody haunting a narrative.
Yes.
Because he shows that Jigsaw is just playing God. He's not proving anything about human nature or like the people who want to live and the people who don't want to live and like who is worthy of saving. Like, he's not proving fucking anything.
And
he's just
who actually appreciates their life.
Yeah. No, he's just getting his fucking rocks off and he fucking sucks and I don't like him. Justice for Adam.
Well, there it is.
There's my rant.
Yep.
Do you want to play a game?
What game should we play? What dumb reason would Jigsaw put us in a trap?
Yes.
Or use to justify putting us in a trap?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I can tell I probably wouldn't get out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like his dumb reason that he would have to put me in a trap is he'd be like, you say that you are writing a novel and that you want to be published for your novel, and yet where is the novel? Where is the novel, Katy? Catherine Williams. Where is the novel?
Where is the novel?
And then I would be, reverse bear trapped for it.
Of course. I could totally see him, like, putting me in a trap for giving a student a B.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You gave my Billy puppet a B in your health class.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, especially if he's like that vindictive and personal about it. Yeah, like I probably gave his kid a B that his kid earned.
Yeah.
Or that, you know, my B in my health class, which of course the quiet part is that class doesn't actually matter.
Yeah,
That's the quiet part that no one actually ever says.
Yeah.
Is that
health.
I have destroyed destroyed a student's
potential.
GPA, yes. And now they're not going to get into Harvard, and they're not going to cure cancer. And
you are responsible for the deaths of millions, really.
And it's my fault because I gave him a B instead of an A.
That would be a stupid, dumb reason for doing that. Yeah, I would super fail the trap, too.
And I would not, and there's no way I'm getting out. Yeah,
I have no tolerance for any of it.
Right, if you were in like a reverse bear trap.
Oh my God.
It'd just be like, yeah, nah.
You want me to get in a guy's guts?
Yeah.
That's gross. Jigsaw, that's gross.
Jigsaw, I'm not doing that.
That's really icky, Jigsaw.
Well, next month we're watching a much better movie that you enjoy much, much more.
But to be fair, I enjoyed this movie.
Yes.
I just do not like that man.
I just really hate Jigsaw.
I just do not like that man.
Yes.
But yes, this has been Deep Thought Shallow Plots.
Join us next month for Katie's birthday month episode.
Yeah, where we're watching Escape Room.
Right.
Which is thematically, or not even just thematically, like mechanically similar.
A companion for Saw,
which was not planned.
Again, we did not plan. Yeah.
We're just really good at this.
Yeah, you just
subconsciously.
We really like that movie, and
I just wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. So follow us on Instagram at Deep Thought Shallow Plots. Thanks as always to Sound Guy Matt. And as always, until next time, Diana!